Okay, hello, Black women. I'm going to make this video fast today because I had already done a video and tried to post it for you. But then I tried to include, I'm going to show you just the website and where to watch this movie that I was trying to show you and how to make a complaint if you have problems at your polling site. And then I'll just go into the other stuff I was talking about because I had spent like 2 hours doing that, and then they just took it down for copyright bullshit, and I'm too through. So, okay, this is a movie that you need to watch. All right, it's called Vigilantes Inc. It's a two. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's like an hour and change movie, but it has a lot of information about voter suppression, the history in America of the Klan, and the Ku Klux Klan. That originally was their name when they made the movie A Birth of a Nation. And then after the government came after them, they changed their name legally to the Vigilantes Inc. These are the people that are behind today's America's new vote suppression groups and taking people off of the rolls and etc. This is a free film. All you got to do is go on to saveyourvote.com, click this button here, the movie will play. But more importantly, I want to show you some of these other things, right? Now, I want to read these boxes and then I want to show you how, if they try to steal your vote, how you could get your vote back, all right? But let me explain. You see these little 4 boxes here with the numbers? So in 46 states, 46 states have some form of voter eligibility challenge statute. That means by law, they are allowed, these states have illegally wrote into their laws a way to take Black and Hispanic people off of the voter rolls. Now, this is all going against the 15th Amendment, but they do these things because these are white supremacists who need to maintain white supremacy and to keep in America white people on top of everybody else. However, you as Black, Hispanic, Asian, and all the other people in this country, with this presidential election, you have the power to change that shit forever in a day. And to tell these white people like these Klan members like Trump and all his boys to go suck the biggest dick they could find, because that shit gets no play here. So just know that they have that. And then know that 55% increase in challenges have been seen in Michigan and in 8 months between September 23rd and May 24th. Also know that 851,000 people have been challenged, and these challenges have been filed by True the Vote Vigilantes by August of 2024. Now, the way this goes is when you watch this movie, you're going to find out that in these 46 states, right? And notice, we only got a certain number of states in all of America, and they got 46 of them. So they got the majority of America with these dumbass laws to take you off of the registered voter rolls. But just because they take you off doesn't mean you can't get right back on and vote and get their ass out of office, which is what you should do. So, but anyway, this is what they're doing. They're going around taking off as many Hispanic and Black people off the rolls as possible, because Black people are the number one population in America, followed by Hispanics. Believe it or not, that is the truth of it. And this is why they keep going after you. So when you watch this movie, this film up here that I had showed you a moment ago, Vigilantes Inc., is going to explain all of that to you and literally show you how they were taking off like mad people named Jose Garcia and mad Black people named like basic names like James Brown, Phyllis Evans, shit like that, Maria Gonzalez, and not looking at the middle names and trying to pretend that these people don't really live where they say they do, because many people had the same first and last names. They're common last names. They're common first names. All the things they're doing, even though they created these statues in their states, is fucking illegal. It is against your civil rights. So you need to watch this movie. You're going to go to saveyourvote.com, watch this movie, and become informed. Then let me read this last part, and I'm going to show you how to deal with these people when they fuck with you at the polling sites. So 9,600% increase since 2022 in the number of vigilantes challenging voters nationwide. So Trump's people have been on this "we really won the election" bullshit and been trying to actually steal an election by eliminating legally registered voters from registered voters rolls in every state in this country. So the way you simply deal with these white racist bastards is, I'm going to read this verbatim and then I'm going to click on the Department of Justice's website to show you how to make a complaint about not being allowed to vote wherever you live, so the Department of Justice could step in. All right, so literally, how to steal back your vote from these vigilantes. You're going to vote early. Vote early everywhere you can, y'all. I vote early every voting, every time I'm allowed to vote or there's an election. I vote early because I don't like doing all that standing on lines with everybody else and shit like that. I vote early, get my shit in and get out. And I sit back and watch in November because I vote in October because it's early voting starts in New York City October 26th. Okay, so here we go. So you vote early with vigilantes on the loose. Fuck them. I'm gonna read this, but the way that he worded this, ain't nobody afraid of no white people with guns and all that anger and hatred, because I have guns, anger, and hatred right the fuck back. So, but let me read this. Vote early with vigilantes on the loose. Vote as early as possible. So if you're challenged, you'll have the time to contest the challenge, and in some states, re-register. In other states where you can't re-register, that's where the Department of Justice is going to come in. But in all cases where you have problems, you're going to hit up the Department of Justice because we need this shit to stop completely. All right. In Wisconsin, Nevada, Michigan, and other states, you can re-register on election day. Demand a registration form and a regular ballot. Ask for a regular ballot. Don't take no provisional ballot from them because a provisional ballot is bullshit. It doesn't count. Take a regular ballot. Register. Registered, you better think and check twice, right? So think if you're registered to vote, think again. With all this purging going on, you could be X'd out and you wouldn't know it. Check online right now at vote.gov. Vote.gov. Every state, everybody. Check your voter registration at vote.gov. I witnessed a 92-year-old voter tossed out of a polling station because she'd been purged from the rolls after 50 years voting at the same place. This was Christine Jordan, Martin Luther King Jr.'s cousin. Check your registration, voter registration at vote.org, right? So you understand? So you're going to check online at vote.org. You're going to check your registration at vote. I did it backwards. You're going to check to make sure you're registered to vote at vote.gov. Got it? That's to make sure you're still on the voters registration roll. Vote.gov. To check your registration, right? You're going to go to vote.org. Go to both websites. It doesn't matter. Go to both. The vote.org is like for people that are just newly registered, or they tried to do a mail-in ballot and they changed it and said we're not doing that no more, and you don't know what's happening, or you think you registered or you thought you mailed in. Check both. Vote.gov and vote.org, okay? Because they play games. But if you check both rolls to make sure your name is there, you know what time it is and you know what you got to do if it's not. All right. So then it says, don't go postal unless you must. I have something to say about that, but I'm going to read this to you first. Don't go postal unless you must. 1 in 7 mail-in ballots are disqualified for picayune errors, including postage due. So what they mean is many ballots are disqualified because people claim they can't read it. They don't understand what the name is. They can't make out the address. They're just lying, but this is what they do. So this is why they say don't go postal unless you must. I don't agree. I'm going to explain why. But mail in your ballot if, like me, you can't appear in person. It's true. Some people, especially if you're in the military, like my son just came back from a training. He had a month in California. So if it was November 5th and he was trying to vote, but he was still in California, he knew he was going to be in California working with the military, he would have no choice but to try to send a mail-in ballot, right? If they give him trouble, then he's going to file a complaint with the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice against that voting location, and they will deal with it, and his vote will be counted. All right. So anyway, let me read this again. Don't go postal unless you must. 1 in 7 mail-in ballots are disqualified for picayune errors, including postal due. But mail in your ballot if, like me, you can't appear in person. Fill out the ballot carefully. Some states allow you to track the status of your mail-in ballot. Listen, I don't give a fuck what state allows you to do anything. Anytime you send a ballot, you're going to fill out a little white slip called a certificate of mailing. This certificate of mailing is stamped by the post office showing that you literally mailed that thing on that day. It is time stamped. So it definitely is proof that you mailed your ballot. Now, what you want to do, right, is if before you get your certificate of mailing stamped, you might want to take a picture of it with your cell phone to show the condition that you sent your ballot in, to show that the ballot was filled out clearly, you printed neatly, everything was legible and clear to be seen so that anybody could read it. You might want to do that, or even videotape it, right? All right. So remember, to get proof that you sent anything by mail, you can fill out, it only costs like $1.10. It's a little white slip called a certificate of mailing. If I had one, I would show you. But it literally says on it, certificate of mailing. It has on the top like to and at the bottom from. And you fill out the name and address to where it's going and the name and address of who sent it to prove that it was you that mailed it. Certificate of mailing. All right, now let's get to the bottom. Avoid the provisional placebo ballot. If you've been purged or challenged, you'll be handed a provisional ballot. You don't want that shit. You want a regular ballot. It's what I call a placebo ballot. You think you voted, but you haven't. The Federal Elections Assistance Commission reports that in the 2016 presidential election, 2.7 million provisional ballots were not counted. Y'all understand? They throw them shits away, okay? They throw them away. Instead, you don't fill out no provisional ballot. You're going to call the lawyers that are going to be on standby for problems at the voter sites. You're going to call 1-866 our vote for lawyers on standby will help you challenge the challengers. Now, in addition to that, I'm going to put that number on the screen for people who might not have gotten that. It's 1-866 our vote. All right, let me put that up. Let me get that where I put an equal sign. So this phone number right here, if you have problems at your voting site, you're not going to fill out a provisional ballot because that ballot is bullshit. They throw that in the garbage. You're going to ask for a regular ballot, the same regular registration form ballot that you would fill out if you never voted. You're going to fill out that one, right? And then you're going to call this number 1-866 our vote. And the people who answer this phone are the lawyers that work for the Federal Elections Assistance Commission. They're going to pick up that phone, okay? Because these are the people that challenge the people that challenge you about not being on the registration roll, all right? Now, outside of that, let me show you something else. I want you to go after this video onto saveyourvote.com or is it dot? Oh, let me go up. Saveyourvote.org. Watch that movie. Read this information I gave you just now again. And then these are the action groups that are going to help you when you have problems voting. You're going to file, we're going to look at how to file a complaint with the Department of Justice in a minute if you're challenged. but you're going to call 866 Our Vote to get an attorney on the line immediately if you are having voting problems. Remember this, okay? And these are the people who are providing the attorneys and the help. This is Georgia's NAACP. This is also Transformative Justice Coalition, Black Voters Matter, Rainbow Push Coalition. Now, this is the thing most important in addition to the attorneys. To go on the Department of Justice, right? You're going to go to civilrights.justice.org. That's the website. That's going to take you /report. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you, right? Let me write this down. Civil rights. Hold on. Civil rights.justice.gov/report, right? It's going to take you here to the Department of Justice. You see it says United States Department of Justice, contact the Department of Justice to report a civil rights violation. You could fill this out for any civil rights violation, not just for voting, right? Put your name, last name, email, phone number, address, zip code, and then you're going to answer the military question. Are you now or have ever been an active duty service member? Click next. It's going to take you to a page where you fill out the actual complaint of what happens, and then somebody will contact you. Down here, you have the contact information in Washington for the Department of Justice. And here are different links to help you do other things if you need to besides voting problems, right? They show you how to report a violation. They talk about a lot of stuff right over here. So you can do that on your own time, right? All right. Let me go back to put that number. Put the website, sorry. Civil rights. Y'all need to watch that movie because it will really show you the history of how long and what they have currently been doing, Trump and his boys, to try to knock off Black and Hispanic people off the voter registration rolls. And they have gotten over 1 million people already, so we don't need them to get any more. All right, this is the website. This is the website for the Department of Justice. Oh, I got to do more. I didn't do it the right way. Sorry. Civil rights.justice.gov/report. That's how it goes. This is it. This is the correct one. All right, let me put that one up. This is the correct one. So civilrights-justice.gov/report. To have this on the screen, pop up where you get to fill out your contact information, the primary concern, the location of the polling site where you had the issue. Let me make it wider so I can tell y'all. So when you get in, you're going to fill out the contact information, primary concern, the location, the polling site where it happened, the personal characteristics, the date, personal description of the challenger, and then the review of your complaint and send it off, and then you're good to go. And then they will make sure that state will not be able to certify the votes because there was voter suppression and voter tampering at those sites. So what that means in short, when I say they will not be able to certify those votes, it means that even though they may have stopped you from voting, that state will not be allowed to have an official number of everybody who voted because there were complaints made about voter suppression. So that state will have to wait. And they might have to wait even after the election and have the votes recounted to make sure they get an accurate official account of who actually won that state before a winner can be determined for this state. This is why you complain when they don't allow you to vote. This is why you make sure you speak to one of those attorneys at 1-866 Our Vote so that this kind of shit stops. And once you get a winner, right, in for the presidency, then you start working on making sure that people like Trump and DeSantis and Abbott and all the rest of these people in these Republican states are no longer allowed to do this kind of shit, because you can ask your representatives when you vote Kamala in and all the Democrats on the list from underneath her, so that you vote for the whole Democratic ticket. We get the presidency to change the Supreme Court, add more justices so that we could get rid of the Republican supermajority, so laws can be passed and shit could change in this country. And so that everybody in this country, I'm so sorry, everybody in this country can have a say and literally participate in the wealth of this country, and not just white America, but for everybody, citizens and everybody else alike. Because if this place is pretending to be a democracy, it needs to actually become one where everybody has the right and the same ability to wealth, home ownership, businesses, and being a representative for the people in every branch of government. And you have the power to make that happen by standing up to these bullies who are going to try to intimidate you with force. You can push back the same way. Somebody hits you, you can hit them back. Somebody pull a gun on you, you pull one on them. If they walking around with vests, you need to be walking around with vests and bulletproof pants. Let them know I'm about that life too. Whatever you could do, I can do better. So you don't intimidate me. I'm going to still vote. I'm going to file my complaint if you tell me you have dropped me from the roll. And I'm not going to let you continue to manipulate this country with white supremacy. I am not. And I'm not going to allow you to let this Klansman Trump get into office and take away the rights of every woman and girl in this country. I be goddamn. And that's what you're supposed to have in your mind, body, and soul going to this fucking poll. Don't rely on nobody else. Don't wait for white women to get your back or anybody else. There's enough black people in this country, which is why they trying to knock your ass off the rolls to change this whole fucking election around. If every black person got out their house and voted in this election, and these white people know it, that's why they doing all this shit. Black women who are sitting on the couches listening to women and black males about your vote don't count. It does, baby. It does so much that they create laws to keep you from voting. You got to let that resonate. You got to know that when they're telling you you only 13%, you're not. You're more like 60% of this country. There's more black people in America than there are white people. Has always been since slavery. Black people first is the largest population in this entire country, no matter where we live. Then after us, believe it or not, are the Hispanic people, because they coming over here like crazy. And then everybody else, and the whites are last. They are the minority in this country, which is why they're going so hard trying to get this racist into office to keep the smallest population in America in the control of the country and basically in the control of the world. So you have a say about this. You can stop this shit from happening by going to the polls, voting Kamala in, and don't stop there. Once you get her in office, then you're going to fight for everybody else that is on that Democratic ballot to make the changes in America. You're going to stay on their ass and demand what you want from them and get it. That is what we have not been doing in this country for the longest time. And then we turn around and say, oh, nobody does nothing for black people, because black people ain't been voting and they ain't been demanding shit. They have not been putting their hat into the ring, getting into office, getting together collectively, organizing their vote to make their voices heard. In power is numbers. Power are the numbers of people who come together to fight for one fucking cause. That's how you get shit done in America. That's how our 4 people got it done. That's how you got to get it done today. That's enough on the voting. You got enough stuff to help you. So I don't want anybody telling me y'all didn't vote, because I didn't gave you enough. I gave you lawyers. I gave you a way to complain and a movie to show you all your rights and what they have been doing since Donald Trump was last president in 2016, all the way up to 24. So you got a lot of information in that SaveTheVote.org video. And then all the stuff underneath it that I just went through with you, the lawyers and the Department of Justice. You are well prepared and weaponized to win this election. So go do your job. All right, now we're going to get on some bullshit that needs to be dealt with, okay? I happen to see this raggedy shit on TikTok not too long ago. Let me bring this up for y'all, okay? Because I just can't with this type of bullshit. I really can't. Let me get this to y'all. That's the wrong thing I'm doing. I apologize. I'm not going to play all of it, but I want to play a few things to talk about how Black people, you really got to get your head together. You got to get your head together.
Listen, man, I'm really good with kids. I ain't gonna lie. So I'm not gonna keep talking on my shit. And I like kids. No R. Kelly shit. But listen, I just believe in making your kids, they gotta just value what they working for. Period. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
They do, because guess what? My daughter got 4 awards at her graduation. Lovely. My kids work for what she want. Okay. My kid keep that, do what you gotta do is go to school, do your chores, be respectful. You do that, we good. And I give them anything they want. If my child wanna and 16 want a Gucci bag and her grades is up to par and she do what she needs to do, here's your Gucci bag.
Listen, man, I'm really good with kids. I ain't gonna lie. So I'm not gonna keep talking on my shit. And I like kids. No R. Kelly shit. But listen, I just believe in making your kids, they gotta just value what they working for. Period. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
They do.
So I will close it out because it wasn't stopping. I don't think children just need no fucking Gucci bag. I don't think any Black person really needs to be spending thousands of dollars on a piece of leather. But that's just my opinion. But I get the sentiment of what she's saying. She's trying to say that if she rewards her child for doing well, that creates a carrot on the stick type of understanding, but we need to make our children way more resilient and also way more understanding of everything that encompasses their lives, not just their parents, their family, the communities they live in, but the extenuating factors of society where Black children, especially Black girls, learn that you have a level of implicit bias and racism that is going to shadow you your whole life. So when you're setting yourself up for the future, you have to think about all of that, how to protect yourself against it, as well as jump over all the obstacles white America is going to put in your way to get what you need in this life, to make sure that you are sustainable every day of the rest of your life. All right, so I just want to, this went viral, so I got to talk about this because this was pissing me off when I was watching it.
You can raise the shit that y'all. You can raise a child to value $1 without making them struggle for it.
Whatever. Use whatever fucking vocabulary you want to use. Struggle, adversity, whatever. Trials and tribulations, whatever the fuck you want to use. Long story short, I'm not rolling the red carpet for you. So whatever word you want to use to describe that, whatever. All I'm saying is, as a parent, I'm not rolling the red carpet for you.
So I don't give a fuck how much resources I have. So you be one of those parents that I went through it, so you got to go through it too. That's the parent you're going to be. Not
goddamn
me.
right.
Not me. And good thing you're not a parent yet.
Goddamn
because
right.
That is a horrible way of thinking when it comes to raising children. Your children's going to grow up to hate your ass. I'm telling you now. So children will grow up and resent you and hate you because you made them struggle unnecessarily.
You grew up with a roof. You grew up with a roof over your head, food in your stomach, clothes in your body. And
children need more than that. Children need more than that. And the reason, and I know you're gonna come at me for yelling, but when it comes to kids, I'm passionate about that shit because a lot of our parents fucked us up, and I don't think it's fair for us to turn around and give that to our kids. No, you're not okay, nigga. You be on here going off every damn episode. You're not okay. I'm not okay. We're not okay.
All right, I'm gonna stop that for a minute. I want to get into this, right? Let me stop because I was tired of seeing his ugly fucking face. But Black women, both of them on that conversation were completely wrong, and they're all dealing with their own fucking issues. The bottom line is, we as Black people have to stop fucking around with and just be honest about the fact that we are dysfunctional people. We have come from a legacy of slavery where none of the issues that affected us in slavery, after slavery, and current day have ever been addressed. Okay? So in understanding that, right, you got to know that this is why a dude could sit there looking as disgusting as he does, making these even grosser comments about harshly dealing with children that he's supposed to care about and love. But we can't keep pretending like we as Black women don't know that Black males don't take care of their children. They're not fathers. They're not men. They're not anything in our communities, especially these days, but people who are dead weight, always wanting to leech off of the black of a Black woman, talking about 50-50, always worrying about having all types of issues with Black women, being overly violent, killing Black women by Black femicide, hating young Black women to the point where, you know, they're baby trafficking them, human trafficking them, domestic violence situations with them when they are with them. And it needs to stop. And Black women need to stop pretending like that type of shit does not exist. Deal with it head on and understand that the reason you have so many issues with your children is because you keep ruminating about Black males and trying to fix them. You are not the world's social worker. You can't fix them. They have to fix themselves. There's no amount of, oh, if only I got a 2-parent home, things would be better, is going to fix anything when the people are fundamentally broken. The women and the males, but the males more so than the women. So she needs to realize that there's no reason for her to apologize for speaking or raising her voice or showing emotions, because she's entitled to do that as a woman. As a Black woman, she's entitled to do that. However, she also has to keep in mind that the monolithic stereotypes that are pushed down in society about Black women being loud and not supposed to be having an opinion on anything that afflicts them is done by these same Black males you keep wanting to go into relationships and wrongfully thinking you're going to be able to raise up decent, law-abiding citizens with these dudes with. It's not going to work. It's not going to ever work, because they are fundamentally fucked up. They don't want to change, and all they want to ever keep doing is bringing Black women down and hating on them because they got issues within themselves you're not going to be able to touch. So stop trying. And when you do have children, which I don't suggest you do, right? I don't think Black women need to be having children anymore with these dudes. If you are going to have children, have them by yourself or pick a man from another race, because they cause problems. They socialize Black males to have this, I never had a daddy, so I got fucking issue syndrome. And because my daddy didn't know how to be a man and didn't want to care for me or want to be there for me, I'm internalizing that bullshit. And we have this constant merry-go-round of motherfuckers with problems and personal inner, hey, what's up, Juanita? Personal inner crisis going on because they didn't have a father who was a man, period. And they don't want to ever accept that shit. They want to keep blaming it on the mother, which we're going to go into some articles about how it is a traditional thing in America to want to blame the mother, because under patriarchy, men never have been held accountable for all the trauma they pass down generation to generation that they pump and push into society every fucking day. And so when I first saw this, let me go back to it for a moment, because I want to show you some things that really was fucking with me as an older woman, because I can understand it and I could not get with it. And I don't understand why I'm not stopping this shit. Hold on. Why isn't it stopping? All right, there we go. We finally got it to stop. Look, check out a lot of the shit they're saying. This is the shit that was bothering me with this. She is wrong because this is a Black woman that is Black male worshiping. She's coddling Black men. She's apologizing for being a human being because she's believing all of these stereotypes and negative attributes they put on Black women about our mannerisms and our character. She needs to stop that. Black women, you don't apologize to anyone in this life for being who you are. No one. All right, so let me try it again. All right, so this person says they're talking about him, talking about he's really good with kids or whatever the case may be. I think it's one more before. Oh, I want to show y'all that one too, but wait, this is the one I want. So in the comments, right, I wanted to show y'all this. So this first Black woman, she says, wanting to continue the cycle of generational trauma is terrifying. This lady said it all. Like all the rest of these people were taking sides with the ignorant dude and this woman. But what this woman said when she says about this guy, wanting to continue the cycle of generational trauma is terrifying, right? That's what I'm talking about. When you have these dudes constantly always talking about they didn't have a dad, right? Their mother didn't make a good choice in the father not being there, and the stepfather this, or she had too many boyfriends that. Everything is always geared towards not holding this grown fucking male responsible for his own actions and trying to put off or push off onto the burden of the trauma onto the mother, who's also dealing with the trauma and the absence of this father, this person, whatever, or the violence, the criminality, and the chaos this person is either bringing into the situation, brought into the situation, or has left there, right? When that woman said that comment, the first comment she left, there was no other need for other comments in it because she hit it right on the head. When you see all these dudes on here that all of a sudden start changing their opinion of Black women because Black women finally started to wake up and start realizing that you don't pay people on YouTube or TikTok or anywhere else, either through cash apps or by views. You do not pay or patronize these people to insult you. If they don't have nothing nice to say out of their mouth about Black women, stay the fuck away from them. And don't just take no gaslighting surface shit. Be real. If these motherfuckers, all they ever got to do is downgrade you and demean and dehumanize you, leave them the fuck alone, period. Period. Don't fuck them. Don't feed them. Don't have babies with them. Don't date them. Don't marry them. Leave them the fuck alone. Because I had said this like a year ago. When you get to the point where you understand that you are more valuable than any of this bullshit in this society, you will understand how all this shit connects to you in society and how you, Black woman, have the ability to change everything you live in every day, even to the society, the government you live in. You are that fucking powerful if you only start wrapping your head around that shit. There's no person in this world that could do anything to you where you have control over it, that you continue to let them do to hurt you. Once you decide, I'm not dealing with that shit no more. And that's really all the fuck it takes. There's no reason to sit up here screaming, having a conversation with a person who wants to hurt and abuse their own children because they feel like if I survived it, so can you. That's not what a good parent does. A good parent wants to love, protect, shield, and provide pleasantries and comfort for their child because they know when that kid grows up, they're going to have to deal with all the shit in this world that you as the parent have no control over. So instead of that lady having that conversation with that dude, she would have been better off explaining to single mothers and divorced mothers who are now single mothers or women that don't want to be mothers at all, that if you want to have a happy child, you want to have a happy life as a Black woman, you stay away from wounded Black males with issues with their inner child. Stay away from them dudes with mother wounds and, most importantly, daddy wounds, because they are mentally fucked up and there's no fixing them. Anytime you come across a person that's so fucking weak-minded that somebody else's actions and absence affects them when the person is not even there to do a fucking thing to them, bothers them even when they're not there, there's something fucking wrong with that person. Because it's different if you got somebody there fucking you up, beating you up, stopping you from eating, beating you unconscious, or sexually violating you. That's one thing. But when a person is completely not even there, they have no effect on you whatsoever physically, but you allowing them to have all this emotional deterioration of your soul effect upon you when they're not even physically there, tangibly available, you are fucking bugging. And you are creating your own demons because you do not understand that that person decided you as a child were not important to them. Period. It's not your fault. Everything is on that person who left their responsibility, left the fact that they had a dependency to take care of that child as a parent. When that parent crossed that line and said, fuck this woman, fuck these kids, the mother and that child had a fucking obligation to say, you know what, motherfucker, fuck you too. And I'm glad you going, because a motherfucker like you don't need to be around us. And have built their life up away from that, wondering why did he leave, why he couldn't stay, why he didn't love me the way he should. Who gives a fuck? If he already showed you that he consciously made a decision not to do it, he's not worth your fucking thought. He's not worth anything but be gone, motherfucker, because I have my own life to live, and I don't ever want to be like anything you have left me with. The feeling currently. Because as a child, children have to grow. They have to learn that the way they interpret things as a child is not the same way you will interpret and understand them as an adult. So therefore, Black women, do not ever do that mentally weak conditioning shit to your children, boys or girls. If their father leaves, let them know. If a person leaves you and they have a responsibility to you, it's better they leave and get away from you so that they're not there with you and hurt you, because clearly they don't want to be there. There's no parent in the world that's going to be kept from their child if they don't want to be kept. Everybody knows that. So if they voluntarily walk away, teach your children that that is not what parents are supposed to do. But when they do leave, the other parent has to make up for the slack. They have to teach their children to be mentally strong, to understand that you are not responsible for that person. That person does not define you. Because they are weak does not make you weak. You have to be strong so that you do not ever become like this person who could not find it within themselves to do what they were supposed to do by you. Write them off. Let them go. Don't ever think about them again. They're not worth you. But what is happening with that conversation is that Black people on a whole, Black mothers, are buying into all of this patriarchal bullshit about families, the religious bullshit about how a family structure is supposed to be created. And mind you, that is not where African or Black people who come from ADOS people or enslaved Africans, that is not our background as people. We don't come from this made up family shit that white people try to force down our throats of the mother and father and children in a home, nuclear family shit. That's not where we come from. We are a community people where most of our houses and where we come from families together, whether it's parents living with their parents, aunts, uncles, cousins. We are a people, a communal people that come from extended family. We don't just live in no isolated fucking unit of 4 people. That is not how we are. That is not how we're ever going to be. And the more that Black people try to force themselves into that unnatural state of being is why you have all this crazy shit going on. Because that is not who we are. We're not colored in white people. So stop trying to be like that. And then you also got to deal with the realities of shit. Black people have a lot of issues. We are hated in the country that we created and that we lived in first before these European white people ever came here. We lived through all of that annihilation of black people, slavery of black people, Jim Crow, segregation, the current day Jim Crow of mass incarceration and killing black people randomly and the white supremacy. We lived through all of this stuff. So the trauma of that causes us to have all this hate and chaos and issue with each other because we won't slow down and stop and see the true enemy for who the fuck it is and stop worrying about each other. Now, by me saying that, do not get me twisted. I'm in no means saying that we need to put down the gender war and go hug up and embrace black men. And that's not what the fuck I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is for black women to understand that these black males are not your savior. They're not even your friend. They don't even like you. So for you to change the community, you have to really get away from the community, both in mind and body. You have to leave all that black shit alone. Divorce yourself from that black family shit because it's not going to work. The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to be another victim, just like that little girl Haley was the other day, where she believed in black love and this motherfucker came along and baby trapped her and then went out of his way to embarrass her to the whole fucking world, knowing full well that she's the fucking money maker in the family. So you want to avoid that type of shit. You really do. You want to be a black woman that understands that you only live in poverty because you make choices to stay there. You need to graduate high school. You need to understand that I don't give a fuck if I'm coming from a crackhead family. I have the ability to do something with my life if I have never seen anybody in my family do anything with their life. I have the potential within me to become fucking great because I'm already born somebody. You got to stop allowing all this shit that goes on social media to fuck with your perception of who you are and who and what you want to become, and get on your road to get that goal and don't let shit stop you. Nothing. You have to become as selfish as possible and understand that ain't nobody in this life going to do shit for you if you don't do it for yourself first. I'm seriously telling you. Everybody's not born to have a mom, a dad, a grandmother, a grandfather, aunt, uncle that give a fuck about them and will do whatever it takes to make sure you get what you need or whatever it is you want. We're not all that fortunate. But the one thing none of us are supposed to do is to feel sorry for ourselves, because we got too many opportunities in this fucking country by ourselves as black women to get it the way we know how. Hard fucking work and determination, resilience. You don't like to be called a strong black woman, but that strong black woman mentality and grit that has been built in you from all those strong ass women you come from is in you too. And you need to activate that woman and make sure you get your education you need, the career or employment you need to make sure that you never work in retail and got enough money to do whatever it is you want to do in life without another motherfucker helping you. Because when you need other people to help you, that's when your life can be torn down. That's why that conversation they was having was so ridiculous, y'all. Black women. There's so many programs out here where you don't need a whole bunch of money to get a house. You don't need a whole bunch of money to live good. You need the information. Then you need to know how to go get what you got to get, apply that shit, and make it happen. For instance, let me go on this website because I need y'all to see it. I need to find it. It is the USDA rural, let me see if it comes up this way. Rural first, here we go. First time homeowner. Here we go. Let me show y'all this. I gotta show y'all this so you understand what I mean. And it's a white man on TikTok. I gotta find him, right? Where he, if you contact him, he will show you. Let me see, here it is. He will show you how to utilize this. Let me go back. This is the USDA. This is all through America, right? This is another way for single Black women who do not make a lot of money, right? I would say working poor. Let's put it like that, right? Because working poor could be middle class, really, really impoverished. Even people on Section 8. Section 8 people know that is a source of income. So keep your Section 8, and then you go look for home owning programs, and you could get your first home and use that program as your down payment and closing costs to get into a home to take care of you and your children. That way, you're beginning to create a form of generational wealth. I'm going to find that white man for y'all, and I'm going to post him. What he does is he will put you in contact with one of these USDA representatives in your area to walk you through this program to buy your first home. Now, these are in rural areas, so it's going to be far away from the city, but it will be low enough, and the requirements to buy a home will be cheap enough for any and everybody to do it. I'm actually trying to do this myself right now. So let me see quickly, you guys. Your guys study on this while I see if I can find this dude on TikTok, because I have found him the other day. And this plays into what I was telling y'all about how when you actually know things about how stuff works, how you could work yourself into a better life without killing yourself through working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and all this type of shit. Now, don't get me wrong. You cannot do all of these things off of a bullshit ass salary. You need to have a salary that is, whether you are down south or up north, you need to have salaries that are $50,000 or more. That's the reality. You understand? If you live down south, you might be able to find a better place, Midwest, but $50,000 is the minimum that you need to begin with. Because even if you lived in New York City where I am, you could go to the USDA, keep like $1,000 or $2,000 in your bank account, because this program only, I think, requires $1,000 in your bank account, right? For you to begin this program. You need that 40-something, 30-something is not going to make it nowhere in life. You need the minimum of 50. So you need to start getting those degrees, Black women. Every Black woman should have a minimum of a fucking bachelor's degree. It is too easy to get these days. You can even get that shit online in the comfort of your home. But you need to have a bachelor's degree so that you can walk into these jobs and demand the top salary. After that, if you get a master's degree, now you're talking about making 70, 80, 90, almost 100,000. This is how you need to start looking and approaching life. And stop listening to all these silly ass women on here trying to tell you all this nonsense about relationships and do this and do that in life. When life comes down to money, Black women, you need to be able to make the money to live the life you want. I've been saying recently, don't accept any life except the life you know you deserve. Don't fall for the bullshit. And recently, when I'm watching different people, all I hear is all this negative, oh, woe is me, shit is never going to change, I'm never going to have nothing. That's not true. You have to have the information to make all the pieces fit together to get you where you want to be. All right, so let me stop talking. Let me see if I can get this dude. Because I had just found this man, this little white man the other day. I was just typing in shit, and he happened to pop up about this USDA. Wait. Let me see. I think I have him saved. Let me see. Where did I put this man at? I'm trying to find him, y'all. Hold on. I try to save all these people so I could come back to them later when they're giving good information, because it's hard to find that shit on TikTok. They're always talking all this dumb shit that I'm not concerned with. Like, I don't think black women need to be talking about relationships. I think you need to be on this motherfucker talking about money, morning, noon, and night, and how to get everything you need in life to live just like everybody else, especially white folks. And you're not going to do that if you got to take care of a grown-ass fucking dude along the way. That's not going to happen. Where's this man at? Yeah, that conversation was useless, because black women shouldn't be having that conversation. They should really just be talking about getting their own lives together, period. Yeah, I can't find the dude right now. I don't know where the hell he went. Let me see if I type in USDA. Hold on, y'all. Let me try it another way. USDA Home Loan 2024. Let me try that one. Yeah, I found a couple of people, but I don't see that one man. God damn it. I'm going to have to search through this phone and find him. All right, I see a black lady, so let me see what she's saying. All right, I'm going to go to TikTok. I'm going to type that in and let me see who comes up. I'm going to show y'all what I'm talking about. All right, so USDA Home. Hold on, let me give it all this shit. USDA Home. What is it? Home Loan 2024. All right, let's see. Is that white man? All right, I'm going to just pull this up for y'all, okay? All right, we showing this tab now, right? So when I went in TikTok, you see I typed USDA Home Loan 2024, right? Now, I want to go into a couple of these people. I'm going to start with this black lady right here just because she's black. I want y'all to understand that this is the easiest way to buy a house where you don't need all that money, is if you were buying a traditional house. I'm going to let them explain it to you. When you go on the USDA website, it will literally give you on the website the representative in your area. It will also let you see the houses, the pictures of it, and etc., what they look like, that they have taken into their possession, that they're trying to sell to people, period. This loan is not like a regular loan like everything else where you would buy a house, a conventional loan, or one of those FBA loans. This loan, you don't do all the rest of that stuff. You just pay straight out whatever they tell you it is monthly. You got to do it. And that's how this loan works. But let's go into it and let them talk. All right. I want you to understand this, because getting a home in America is like getting collateral for the rest of your life. So if you get a home, you could use your home towards collateral for a business. You could use it for a business, starting up a business. You could use it. You could get back great taxes to build up money in your bank account just for your bank. When you appreciate your home, when you do your taxes, you can use this with insurances that you buy against your life to make sure that your children always have a place to stay and have money to help keep up the house and afford the house if you pass or when you do pass. This is, like I said, a form of generational wealth. If you could keep this house, your children could live in this house, grow up in this house, get older in this house, add to the house, appreciate the house, increase the value, sell it, buy another house, buy 2 houses, use it to open up a restaurant, use it. You understand? You could do all. This is why a house is so important. And for Black women, you need to be able to have something where mothers pass something to their daughters pass it to their daughters, so that it continues from mother to daughter to mother to daughter to mother to daughter, so that there's something that you have a foundation to build off of. All right, let's go into this.
How much money do you need to?
You are not looking for her.
How much money do you need to make to buy a?
What is going on here? Why is I'm clicking her? Why is he coming?
So you have, ma'am, listen. It has recently occurred to me
This is getting my nerves, y'all. Hold on. What the fuck?
Has recently.
Hold on, let me move the fan. Let me hold on. Super sensitive fucking Apple equipment.
So you have $0, right? Like no money. Yeah, I figured. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get you a USDA loan, and we're gonna get you a house. Okay. And with that loan, you put down $0. Okay. And with this realtor who negotiates your closing costs, the seller's gonna pay for your closing costs. Okay. So we're gonna get you into that home for like a couple $1,000s. Okay. And those loans are for rural areas, so you're gonna have some land, babe. Okay. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna tell all your friends about it. Okay. And then they're gonna use me as their realtor. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to send you the loveliest fucking gift ever, and you're gonna fucking love it. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue our relationship. Okay. Because eventually you're gonna want to sell that home, right? And maybe you want to get out of that rural area. No big deal. Because what do you have now? Equity. So I can put you into wherever. You want to go downtown now? Bet. Let's go downtown. But first, let's get you that USDA loan for $0 down so you can build some equity in that time. You know what I mean? Okay. So if you want to do that, go ahead and contact me. You know what I mean? Because my name is Akila Wright. I specialize in residential real estate in Austin, Texas. I would love to give you.
So this is how you buy.
All right. I really hate this. Every time I touch the mouse, it goes some other shit. All right, let's see what she has to say.
Ma'am, listen.
When I found out that the government finances 100% of trailer homes, also known as manufactured homes, no down payment, no set credit score, I said, move over, Mandy, honey. I'm coming to the party. Especially when the average manufactured home costs 80% less than a single family home. Here's how to own one on the level. One, open Zillow. Enter the state you want to live. Go ahead and select home type, honey, or scroll down and select manufacturer. You already see these prices looking right. They're looking low, honey. 2, copy paste the address of 3 trailer homes that you want. And number 3, take your old knock knees over to the USDA.gov website and look for single family home guaranteed loan program. Scroll down until you see the eligibility site. Then click property eligibility and enter that address and see if it qualifies for this loan. Now here's a bonus tip. Pay attention. Visit FEMA.gov to make sure that your property is not in a flood zone. Also, remember this loan is for rural areas or places with less than 30,000 people, but that doesn't mean the blacks can't be there. Yeah, Becky, I said blacks. Chestertown, Maryland, for example, has 24% of us there. Next up, don't be afraid to swipe right on the ugly trailer home, honey, because this loan covers rehabilitation. Because that sure was ugly. Finally, your income cannot exceed 115% of the median income in the area. So if the median income is $44,000, that means you can earn up to $50K to qualify. Oh, hey, neighbor. Okay, and finally, the USDA loan will not exceed 29% of your income. So if you make $50K, your mortgage shouldn't be more than $1,200. Do you want a part 2? Comment below.
Ma'am, listen.
When I found out that the government
hold on, let me try to find out who
trailer homes, also known as manufactured homes, no down payment.
Look at this girl's name, you guys. Subscribe to her.
Ma'am, listen.
When I found out that the government finances 100% of
God damn it, would you get your ass
when I
out
found
here?
out that
All right, I gotta get her name because I saw a chant. There it is.
It has recently occurred to me that
Oh, I'm getting so tired of fucking TikTok. I hate them. Hold on. What is her name?
ma'am, listen.
when I found out that the government finances
Here we
100%
go. Her name is on TikTok. Chances Home World. Y'all might want to subscribe to her because she's more thorough than the other lady that was talking. And the other thing that she let me put that down so I could go check her out and see what else she got. She did mention something that even I forgot about, is that she's right. Whenever you're looking for these houses, because you guys got to understand, like, these houses are bought by the government. So a lot of them are in places where they had hurricanes and stuff like that. So you go on FEMA.gov, check the address and see if it's in the territory. If it's in the territory, It doesn't necessarily mean you don't want the house. It means that you got to actually go inspect it or see pictures of it or ask to view it, because if it has water damage, you don't want it. If it's completely destroyed, of course, you don't want it. But she did point out the fact that all of these type of loans come with renovation loans where you can make it look damn near brand new. And it's the best thing to do. And it will get you out of the whole point, Black women, right? Is to get you out of these project areas. Is to get you out of these communities where you got all these Black males standing on the fucking corner, selling drugs, running after little girls, trying to baby trap Black women and girls. This is the whole point of why I'm telling you this. When you get away from that bullshit and do not take it with you, meaning leave all those dysfunctional Black males behind you. And if you have sons, do everything in your power to raise them up to be real men. Put them in programs like boys and girls clubs, Big Brother. Put them in programs where they get mentors so that they can actually see examples of real live living Black men they want to grow up to be like. They have lawyers who do all types of work with giving back to the community, volunteering with children. Put them around people like that. Make sure you screen people, because even though they come through these agencies, you still have to see if you like this person as a good fit for your son, because just because they come from that place doesn't mean they might not be that great for them. You know what I mean? Like, you have to feel like this person is also exhibiting some of the things you believe in, some of the morals you have poured into your kid and want your child to be like. If this person represents that, fine. If they don't, you got to keep looking. And I'm only telling you these things because I did the same thing with my own sons. Like, I did not allow them to run the streets with other Black males because I didn't want them dudes trying to rub off all that ignorant shit from the street onto my sons. I did not allow them around certain family members who were womanizers and who talked about women in disgusting fucking ways. Even their own fathers, I had them be around their fathers at very limited amounts of time because their fathers were not 100% decent people, in my opinion, when it came to how they treated Black women and Black girls. So even them, they didn't have that much influence on them as well. And believe it or not, because I know with the rhetoric that goes on in social media, Black women love to think that there are no Black women out here capable of raising real Black men, but you're looking at one. I have 3 sons, and all of them are not dudes that have been to jail. They don't have prison records. They don't beat up on women. They don't have a million babies running around. That is not who they are. I have one son that works for the airports. He works up in the tower. He does well. I have another son that is a decorated military officer, and the other one, he's doing his thing in the corporate world. Him, I had a lot of issues with when he was younger as a teenager, but thank God he was one of those people that went through all his issues as a teenager, and as a grown man, he got his shit together, and now he's doing well as well. Because there was a time there where he was like kind of fucking iffy, but he got his shit together. So I don't accept none of that shit I hear from Black women because I've done it. I've done it fucking 3 times over with the problematic father, with the ignorant fucking male relatives, with the assholes outside trying to tell my sons not to be mama's boys. And I would go check them niggas and my son too. Like, you mind your motherfucking business. This is mine right here. You mind what you doing. You ain't got shit to do with him. And I don't play that shit. And y'all got to get like that. And you got to understand that as much as you have all these women and guys on here trying to tell you you need to have these motherfuckers in your house, you don't. Because the number one, I got to say, I hate to use this type of shit because I don't like these reports and numbers and shit. But the number one statistic in abuse in a home with Black children is because there is a boyfriend or a stepfather. And we all know that they left our real father because that happens with them too. Because let's just be real with it. There's something mentally wrong with all black males. They really envy white men's power, and they hate the tenacity, the resilience, and the drive that black women have. And they want to have ultimate control over women and children. And any grown-ass fucking male who acts and believes that way is very detrimental and dangerous and should not be around black women and children, period. Whenever these black males are coming off with this shit where they feel like you having your independence and allowed to be free and be whoever you are as a black woman is in some way dimming their light or making it seem like they're not man enough, there's something fucking mentally wrong with them. Because you as an individual don't have shit to do with them, and vice versa. And if they really can't understand that, they need to be avoided at all costs. All right. So let's do a few more of these, get into the other stuff so we can kind of move it. I'm doing this to show you guys some of the different information about this same one program so you know that it is literally something you need to be interested in.
It has recently occurred to me that a lot of people don't know what a USDA loan is, and it is actually a zero down payment loan. The catch is you can't do it in a city. It's got to be outside the city limits usually.
Yep.
There's an eligibility map, so you can look up the USDA eligibility map and put the address in and see that if you're eligible for that, but you don't have to have a down payment, just closing costs.
Yep.
So also it's income restrictive. So if you're like under, I think the number is somewhere around the 90K mark as a single, and I forget what the married couple number is, but if your household income is less than that, you don't have to bring a down payment. You just have to bring your closing costs. So I would consider looking at a USDA loan if you're like, I want a house, I don't need to live in the city, the suburbs work for me, or the country, more rural areas. It doesn't even have to be rural. It can be like the suburbs of Wilmington, North Carolina, for example. Like anyone that's hyper local knows Ogden. A lot of Ogden falls on the USDA home eligibility map. So food for thought, since 2024 could be your year. We're expecting the rates to come down. Hopefully, we did say that last year. All
right, let's give it to her. The thing she did say that was really true is that the rates are coming down, right? And this is why black women, you got to get up off the fucking couch, go vote for Kamala, put her in office, because when you look at the money she's looking at giving you for the year, you can use the $6,000 child credit as part of your refund for your down payment. $6,000. I think it was like before or always has only been like $2,500, and then at some point $500 or $1,500 a kid, depending on how many children you have. So this is why when you pay attention closely to what these people running for office are talking about, you got to be able to do the numbers in your head to get the money to live the life you want. Now, all these programs are created by a Democratic government. This shit don't have nothing to do with Republicans. I want y'all to understand that, right? These programs came through different presidents that believed in trying to help black people catch up. So black women, catch up and catch the fuck on. Go on to TikTok. Stop listening to dumb ass lives and videos about relationships and black males and black women and how we can stop the gender war. Fuck all that bullshit. Get on here and start finding people like these people who are telling you about how to become a homeowner, how to get your finances up, how to get your money where you want it to be, how to educate yourself so that you know how to find things to make it work in your life, and stop worrying about fucking, fighting, drugging, and drinking. That bullshit is only going to set you back. Okay? All right, let's get one more and then we move on. Let me pick somebody here. Let's see, my sister. Let's see.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to buy a brand new house on a homestead with some land with no money down. I've been a real estate broker for 10 years, and I know when you heard me say no money down, you heard I don't need no cash, but that's not what I said. You will absolutely need some cash, and my recommendation is that you have access to about $10,000 because you're going to probably end up needing to move away from where you are in order to find this property.
Okay.
Ultimately, you will benefit from the help of a licensed real estate professional, but first, let's find the property. So you're going to go to Zillow, you're going to go to Home Type, you're going to deselect all of them and select only the manufactured homes and apply. Then you are going to go to More, and then when it goes down to lot size, you're going to make sure you select a minimum of 1 acre and then apply. Now we're going to look for the ugliest, cheapest property that we can find, and we don't care where it's located.
No,
the results are going to come up over here, but you're going to sort from lowest to highest. Now, you're looking for the cheapest property that's in a location that's close to where you wouldn't mind being, and you're paying special attention to how long they've been on Zillow. We are not looking for cute and pretty. We're looking for ugly and dirty. All right, here's a couple. There's one in Pine Knot, Kentucky, but then there's one here in my home state of Tennessee, so that's the one I'm going to click on. There's 2 websites that we're about to check before we get too deep into this property. Before you ask me to send the link, check out this, screenshot it. It's arcgis.com. This one's a little bit harder, but basically go and Google USDA property eligibility and this site will come up. Do your research. If you can find a better site to check the tornado path, do it. But this USDA site is going to be where everybody's got to go to check the property to see if it's in an eligible location. All right, so I'm going to paste the address into the search bar, hit search, and it's going to identify the property. But I'm going to have to zoom out. But before I do, I want to see exactly what the legend means. So you see that dark red is an incredible magnitude, devastating, severe, considerable, moderate, and then light. So I'm going to zoom out over here. And as I zoom out, all the little pathway lines are going to show up. So you kind of have to keep an eye on where your property is. And you see it's near this blue line.
Go back, moderate.
And that's considerable.
Oh, considerable.
And then there's a black line that's light.
Right.
So it seems like this property is sitting kind of on the inside of 2 paths that aren't so bad. I would do this if I was building a site-built home or a manufactured home, but especially a manufactured home. Before you get too scared and nervous looking at a property, go and look and see how long it's been there. If it's been there since 1968 and it ain't going nowhere by now, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be all right. Next, I'm going to hop over to that USDA property eligibility site to make sure that this property is located in an eligible area for a USDA loan. Once I did that with that property, I would go find me 4 to 5 more properties and do the same exact due diligence so I have a short list of properties that I could work with. Next, I'm hopping over to Google and I'm searching for We Buy Mobile Homes for Cash, and I'm going to create a short list of people who are willing to come and buy an old mobile home off of my land. All right, now I got 2 lists going. I got a list of properties that already have a manufactured home sitting on them, which means 9 times out of 10, the infrastructure is already in place. Sewer, water, electricity, and it's sitting on some land so that I can start homesteading. The second list is
my 4 favorite.
Wow.
So this is how you buy a house.
How much money do you?
Y'all. Where's my lady at? Oh, fuck. Where'd that black lady go? This is some bullshit. Where did she go? I really hate TikTok. Oh, God, I hate it. There she go.
In this video, I'm going to show you located. So I have and I'm going to create a short list of people who are willing to come. Property, I would go find me 4 to 5 more properties and do the same exact due diligence so I have a short list of properties that I could work with. Next, I'm hopping over to Google and I'm searching for We Buy Mobile Homes for Cash, and I'm going to create a short list of people who are willing to come and buy an old mobile home off of my land. All right, now I got 2 lists going. I got a list of properties that already have a manufactured home sitting on them, which means 9 times out of 10, the infrastructure is already in place. Sewer, water, electricity. And it's sitting on some land so that I can start homesteading. The second list is of companies who are willing and able to come buy a mobile home off of my land and move it for me so it doesn't cost me anything. Now it's time to do a little window shopping. So I'm going to go over to Clayton Homes and I'm going to find a manufactured home that I can get straight from the dealer and have put on my land. Now is when I would reach out to somebody like Miss A. Whitehead to see if I can't get approved for a USDA loan. Now, USDA is going to be very sensitive to your debt to income ratio. So when you're looking at these manufactured homes, make sure you look in the lower end of your budget. So now you want to get that pre-approval letter. Once you get that in hand, that's when you want to hire a real estate agent that you can trust, that knows the area that you're about to be buying in. They are going to get that property negotiated down to the very bare minimum to make sure that you purchased it at the very lowest price possible. Now, if you are an experienced farmer with 3 years of farming experience and you've been filing your Schedule F for 3 years, there may be another loan that's better for you. So if that's you, drop a comment and I'll do a video for you. Or if you don't qualify for a USDA loan because you make too much money or your debt to income ratio is too high, let me know that in the comments as well. There's another way I've got for you guys to get a property and start homesteading. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace. In this video, I'm going to show you.
So this is how you buy a house when you're broke. You have to look.
Yeah, that's that guy.
So this is how you buy a house.
This is the guy I was talking about.
You have to look into a USDA
hold on,
rule development.
Let me show you something. Let me put the black lady that was just there for anybody that I found her. I'm gonna put her TikTok on the screen. So if you want to go to her page and get more information, you can. I liked her the best because when she was talking about the land as well as getting the old fucked up looking trailer that had everything hooked up, the electricity, the heat, and the sewage is good because not only can you do all the things she was talking about, but don't forget about Boxable, because with all these people coming into America and housing being an issue, while you're doing all the things she's telling you to do to get one of these manufactured houses put on top of where this old place used to be, you can get a Boxable as well on that land, that acre that comes with that trailer, and now you can have a renter, and now you can also be paid by the government to provide housing to homeless people through your state or through a governmental contract. So keep that in mind as well. But the black lady that was there before talking, this is her her page on TikTok, at Out the Mud Farm. Okay, so if you want her, I think she's very good. Take her. This though is the man I was telling y'all about. I actually watch him on TikTok. I just couldn't find him scrolling through quickly to try to find him for y'all, but I found him on the page. So here he is. He is the one where if you get in contact with him, he tries to hook you up with the representative in your area to begin your whole process. So we'll let him talk.
Development loan. The government is giving you money through a rural development loan to purchase a property. Now, these rural areas are typically 30 to 40 minutes outside the city limits. And what I explain to people is that you have to know that the suburban areas were created because of affordability. When people used to live in the inner city, and as the inner cities, these urban areas became expensive to live in, people tended to move out a little bit. But you have to know that you can purchase a house with as little as $1,000 in your bank account. As long as you have a 620 credit score, 2 years on the job, you can get these types of loans to purchase a property in these rural areas. And think about it, that's where people are moving to anyway. And those are the areas that tend to also increase in value pretty steadily, because people out there just like you, when they're buying their first home, they have to drive 30, 40 minutes outside the city limits because that's where the affordable homes are.
Yep, it's true. That's the website directly for the, well, you can see it.
So this is how you buy a house.
All right, guys. So that's basically what I wanted to tell y'all about all of that, because to me, when I keep hearing all of these conversations online, I don't hear the practicality of what Black women should be talking about, especially if you want to get out of poverty. In America, you have to be bent on home ownership in order to get any foundational money, because regardless of what you buy, you don't have to necessarily buy the trailer. You could get one of the old houses that they have on sale and use that same renovation grant to fix up that house, right? And now you have an actual brick and mortar house where, whether you want the manufactured one or not, you have a bargaining chip to sell that's going to guarantee you money to take wherever it is else that you're going to go in life. That is getting out of poverty, y'all. Those are the things you need to be talking about and getting into on social media, not relationships where you're going to be bringing in another person into your life to usurp off of what you already have going on. That's all I'm trying to get across to y'all, which is why that original conversation between that woman and that dude about children and that black male fool's opinion about kids is fucking useless and a waste of fucking time. Now, outside of that, I want to start talking about like different things as to why some black people have so many issues with, just dealing with our reality in life, like having a problem with single black mothers and always trying to blame everything on the mother, not having given any responsibility to black males the way that they need to have it, and understanding that you literally need to be out here teaching your children that, listen, not having a father in your home or not growing up with a father is nothing at all for you to concern yourself with, simply because, believe me, they are dysfunctional more so than you ever could imagine. And by having some of these dudes in your house is only going to cause you more of a fucking problem with your children. That's the reason I got divorced. That's the reason why half of the women in this country get divorced, because you live these little lives where you think, because you've been conditioned to believe in fairy tales, that you have this dude and everything is going to be happily ever after and he's going to do right by you and you're going to do right by him. When come to find out that you as a woman, because you have been taught to be nurturing, caring, and providing for others, and it's been taught to you through religion, it's been taught to you through patriarchy, it's been taught to you by the women in your family, and society shames you when you want to be an independent, strong woman. You believe in this bullshit. The only thing you're not remembering or recognizing is that he don't believe in that shit. He don't even give two fucks about marriage, commitment, being a family person, being a father, and most importantly, not even a husband. When we are specifically talking about black males, that is the furthest fucking thing from his mind. You know how his mind is thinking? Oh, I got in-home pussy and somebody to take care of my needs, wants, and feed me and wash my clothes and deal with these fucking kids I had to have. So now I have somebody at home to play with who is going to act like my mommy that I could have sex with. And I could go outside and really do all the ridiculous shit that I want to do, because I still got somebody to come home to who's helping me live my life. That's where they coming from. And why y'all don't understand that and don't want to understand that is beyond me. Let the fantasy go. These dudes are fucked up mentally. They don't know what it means to be on an equal field of respect, communication, and appreciation of a black woman. They don't understand none of that, and they're not even trying to begin to. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let you see how trauma in life affects black women and girls in this little short film off of this small channel. Who if you like black women supporting other black women, please subscribe to this lady. She has been on here trying to get her channel up for quite a while, so I figured I wanted to give her some shine today.
I believe the role of a Black woman is to work for a just society, the kind of a society in which children can grow up without fear, in which they can hope. Don't you think so?
Really, to boil it all down, Black woman is mother of civilization. That's it. She's a mother of the earth. She bears forth fruit, fertilizes the soil.
Initially, Black psychology was very male-centric. It focused on Black men, and it didn't contend with gender and gender differences in any critical way. There was kind of a default that Blackness meant maleness. And over the past couple of decades, we've begun to correct that, to really acknowledging the impact of gender, and importantly, to acknowledging sexism.
We're not just struggling with racism, we're also struggling with sexism, patriarchal systems that have been in place and that make assumptions about men and women that aren't necessarily true. So when you start from women who are often the most poor and women who often are the most vulnerable as caretakers of children for the most part, when you start with their needs, then you ultimately deal with the needs of the family as a unit and then the community as a whole.
I define a psychology of Black women and girls as a psychology that addresses the thoughts, the feelings, the experiences, the behavior of Black women and girls, and that tries to make sense of and understand that in the particular context in which Black women and girls live. It's a psychology that must look at the impact of race, of racial identity, of racism. It must look at the impact of gender.
You constantly are thinking, now, how will this affect Black women? How will this affect African women? How will this affect anyone who is dealing with the caretaking of children and the caretaking of families? By starting with women, then you ensure that the family unit and then the community unit is basically going to be safe, fed, and whole.
The girls that I work with usually come with a high level of self-esteem. The self-discovery is where I see the gap. That Black girl excitement has been crushed. And I think it comes from just now being told in certain environments that they need to sit down, they're loud, they're in the way, you're disruptive, you're bossy, and they have no idea how to nurture that bold girl, because now she's become the loud girl, the girl that's bossy, the girl that's in the way. So now she doesn't know what to do with that. And she's trying to kind of rediscover who she is, and that self-esteem that she has, she's like been told that it's too much, that is in the way. And now she's trying to figure that out again.
So we have to understand the importance of how we as Black women socialize Black girls. We socialize our Black girls to be androgynous, to be both independent, but compassionate and caring at the same time, because that has been a survival for us as Black women. We can't be just caring and compassionate and helpless and dependent. And so we have to understand the roles that Black women have had to undertake, and also the institution of enslavement, oppression, discrimination. And in doing so, also understand that Black women have had quite a bit of resiliency. We have survived, and in many cases, we have thrived.
I think it's really important to have some focused attention on the psychology of Black women and girls because of the particular and unique history of Black girls and women in the United States. Black women have had to make very difficult decisions in very complicated contexts about when to push for freedom and liberation and when to sit tight, about when to speak up and when to shut up. And they've had to do that on behalf of themselves, but also importantly on behalf of their partners, on behalf of their children. And that context, that cauldron, has created a kind of complicated psychology for Black women.
I think that unfortunately, a lot of us, Black men and Black women, believe in the myth of that matriarchy. And I think that belief engenders a lot of negative things. Number one, it says that matriarchy is inferior to patriarchy, which is a whole thing right there. You see that patriarchy is a sort of natural or divine order of things, which is not so. Two, that Black men have believed and internalized the myth of white womanhood in this country and Anglo-Saxon impositions, so that they place us in relation to where white women are.
The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman.
Shifting is a construct that has to do with the ways in which Black women change their thinking, their feeling, or their behavior in response to racial and gender bias. It speaks to all of the ways that Black women maneuver, if you will, sometimes consciously, but oftentimes unconsciously.
When I first decided that I wanted to provide a program and services for girls, specifically Black girls, the girls taught me something else. They truly told me what they needed. And it wasn't just about preparing them for etiquette classes or their culture and giving them enrichment activities. It was about the world and the narrative that they had about a Black girl. So some of the things that I even tried to change in her, I realized that that was what created her to be authentic, what made her different and unique and lovable and funny and joyous. And I wanted to nurture all of that, but also make sure that the world didn't see that everything that a Black girl does is not a bad thing.
All right, we gotta stop because they'll get mad and be like, oh, they took down my other video. I tried to show y'all the whole movie of the voter suppression, so I have to watch it with this psychology report. But Black women, this is what I'm talking about when I'm speaking to us as women in our progress and us coming together as Black women and making ourselves the focus and our little girls. You cannot have a totally functional group of people if you have the matriarchs of those people all out of whack and worrying more about dudes than they're worrying about themselves and their own children. Because think about it, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? If the mother has to be in a great place, now you get out of here. The mother has to be in a great place for the child to grow up healthy and good and to live a great childhood. And I'm not talking about money or escaping poverty. I'm talking about the mindset. You cannot have healthy children mentally living in chaos due to some male in your house terrorizing the mother and the children, because they are just fundamentally wrong for that dynamic completely. I want to now throw in some of these other videos to get Black women to understand when you need to learn, because we are never going to change if we don't learn new things outside of people telling us shit we want to hear, right? So I've showed you guys this doctor before. Her name is Dr. Tracy Marks, and she's very good in fixing a lot of the things that people have that hide just underneath the surface of Black women, that causes Black women to have all of these grudges or issues with other Black women and their need and dependency on Black males. So I'm just going to do a few minutes of these videos, but please do me a favor on your own spare time. Please go to her channel. I'm going to show her channel after the videos. Go on it, find the video you need so that this doctor can explain to you why you feel this way and why it is you may think these thoughts that you may have about certain situations. And then you find out how to deal with it, why they come about, how to make it go away, how to get rid of that issue. I think that is very important right now for Black women. We need to be made whole again, seriously. We have a lot a lot of mental hangups for no reason. And I'm not gonna say it's for no reason. It is done deliberately by all the Black women hate speech and Black women bashing on social media. So Black women, you have to find a way to arm yourself and get some type of shield against all these attacks that go on you daily. And this woman is only one of many. So sorry.
Yet you still feel this deep sense of isolation. If so, you're not alone. Today, we're looking at the paradox of feeling lonely when you're actually not alone, and more importantly, what you can do about it. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Let's start by defining what loneliness really is, because it's more than just being alone. Loneliness is a subjective feeling of being disconnected, unseen, or lacking meaningful connection with others, even when you're surrounded by people. It's not about how many people are in your life, but about the quality of those connections and how fulfilled you feel by them. We often think of loneliness as something that only happens when we're isolated, like living alone or spending time away from friends and family. But the truth is, you can feel your loneliest in a crowded room, or at a party, or even in your closest relationships. It's almost like the activity around you amplifies the emptiness you feel inside. Think of it as this. Loneliness is like hunger. Just as hunger signals that your body needs food, loneliness signals that your mind and heart need connection. It's a natural emotional response that tells you something is missing in your social or emotional life.
We all know that. And we know that that social and emotional thing that is missing in our lives is usually done when we as Black women become these Black male worshipers and we start worrying about everything in society that is pushed towards us to define us as women. Y'all know exactly what I mean. That feeling she's talking about happens when you got these males on here talking about how Black women are least desirable, unattractive, the most problematic, the worst mothers, the most promiscuous. Oh, they twerk too much. Oh, no, all that bullshit, right? That is some of the foundations of why the loneliness and the desire to want to prove to people that's not who I am, or that's not why I do what I do type shit starts to build, and different forms of I'm not going to say loneliness, but forms of feeling disconnected to people begin to grow. And I believe that's really part of the reasons why Black women do that over obligation and over loyalty shit to Black males. Like, being with them is not going to fix the things you feel. You have to understand why you're feeling that way and then stop the feeling, especially if it's causing you to feel bad or it's causing you to act inappropriately or too risky to where your life, your health is put at risk. And these are the things that as Black women, we're not thinking about individually every day. We're just going about our day, just, you know, how can I say it? Mechanically going about our day doing shit that's not good for us. And we're not changing. And also the trauma, since we're going to do the one on the video on trauma, just to get a little of this out, we're all affected by trauma. Trauma is not always negative either. Trauma is to get you to understand that you don't always get over something, but you must learn to deal with it and not let it stop you from moving forward.
Have you ever been told to just move on or get over it after experiencing something traumatic? If you have, you know that it's not that simple. Trauma isn't just a bad memory that we can choose to forget or a wound that heals naturally over time. It's much more complex than that, affecting both the mind and the body in profound ways. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Today, I want to talk about why trauma isn't just something you can just get over, and why understanding the science behind it is essential for healing. When we talk about trauma, we're not just talking about the event itself, but the lingering impact that it has on your brain and body. To understand why trauma is so hard to get over, we first need to look at what happens in the brain and body when we experience something traumatic. Trauma is a complex psychological and physiological response to experiences that overwhelm a person's capacity to cope. It's often associated with a single life-threatening event like accidents or assaults, but trauma can also result from prolonged exposure to chronic stressors such as abuse, neglect, or systemic oppression. Psychologically, trauma occurs when an event or a series of events profoundly impacts a person's sense of safety, identity, and worldview. It's important to note that trauma is subjective. What's traumatic for one person may not be for another, depending on factors like personal history, support systems, and neurobiological resilience. I talk more about how to build up your resilience in another video that I'll have linked in this video. When you experience trauma, several key areas of your brain are impacted. The amygdala, often referred to as the brain's fear center, becomes hyperactive. This heightened state of alertness is why trauma survivors often feel anxious or on edge even when there's no immediate danger. The amygdala remains in a constant state of vigilance, scanning for potential threats and making it hard to relax or feel safe. Your hippocampus, which is central to forming and retrieving memories, can actually shrink in response to trauma. And this structural change affects how memories are stored and recalled, which is why people with trauma often experience fragmented, distorted, or intrusive memories of the event. And traumatic memories don't get processed the same way that other memories do. Instead, they get stuck and resurface as vivid flashbacks or nightmares. Then there's the prefrontal cortex, which is normally responsible for rational thinking, decision-making, and impulse control. Trauma survivors have reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, making it difficult to regulate emotions, concentrate, or make decisions, especially in stressful situations. Trauma doesn't just affect the mind, it affects the body as well.
All right, y'all, you gotta stop there. But you see what I mean now? So she gave you enough explanation on how trauma works. And this is some of the reasons why, in going back to that initial conversation between that Black woman and guy who had all of this horrible opinion about how he should be abusive towards his children if he had them because he made it through the tough life. So his kids should go through the tough life too. This is part of what's happening. Now you heard how she said, when you suffer this trauma, your brain stays stuck in that hypervigilant stage where you're always looking for the next attack and you can't really think things through the way you want to, and why people rationalize putting up with shit when they don't have to. She just explained all of that. And again, Black women, this is why when you see these type of videos and things or lives or just the conversation in itself where Black women are being forced in a sense to stay in relationships that are detrimental, harmful to their health, to their children, and just to their overall existence with these Black males who refuse to let trauma go. You see how the last part of how she explained trauma's effect on the body and the mind, how she spoke about how the perception of the actual trauma is not always as accurate as it should be. This is what we talk about when we're speaking to these Black males and how they walk around with these wounded inner children. And nowadays, people on social media call it mother wounds and father wounds. And you have all of this hate for mothers, but all of this infatuation and allure and yearning and belongingness to be with this father who is twice as abusive due to the absence and the abandonment than this mother who actually sat there and went through trying to make sure you would survive. Whereas this person who left didn't care if you lived or died. And these are the things that when you're trying to make a fucking circle fit into a peg, it's not going to work with these dudes. You have to realize that they are just fundamentally flawed and fucked up, and they like and want to be that way. So you have to move on to save yourself and our children so that we can raise functional little boys and girls who grow up to be the responsible men and women that we need, who can achieve those Black families that are loving, caring parents, both mothers and fathers, to those children, that do not have a problem with being in an extended family circle so that they can have support and any type of assistance they need while they are working to provide the parental guidance and nurturing to those kids to make them fully functional, developed, mentally well individuals in this society. Black women, you cannot do that with any of these Black males that are out in this society today and now. It's not going to work. You do not have any hope for any of these dudes in this society. They're all fucked up. So throw them away, raise up your own boys to be real men, and create the community all over again. These dudes are not going to make it. They're not. They're not willing to change. They're not willing to see Black women as human beings. They're not willing to see Black women as equal adults in this life, which is why the majority of them are backing somebody like Trump and bigging him up and advocating for him to take away women's rights and to continue to keep women as some type of inferiority type of status to these guys. And you must see this. You must get past the longingness for something, the loneliness, the desire, the thirst for something that does not exist in your reality. You have got to stop it. Anyway, you got to stop it. And the last thing I want to do now is talk about how we tend to overthink the very simplistic situation that we live in. Just accept the reality that you're dealing with males who are not men. They do not want to accept you as equal standing adults or respect you as a human being that they should give respect and want to receive respect from. They feel like they should take everything from you and you receive absolutely nothing. That is not going to work. And there is no amount of calling on religion, calling on God, talking about how fathers were taken out of a home or fathers should be put back in the home to make kids the way they need to be. None of that shit is going to work when you're dealing with broken people to try to get that end result you're looking for. It is not going to work. So Black women, you have to work on yourself. Forget Black males altogether. Work on yourself, your journey in making your children better than the grown-ups that are out here now. Go on to websites that teach you about psychological informational development. Understand why it is you feel the way you feel, and then find and learn the grounding skills and the coping skills to make you understand what it is you're feeling, what's triggering you, how to stop the triggering, how to move past this to get better, how to eliminate these people that will cause more problems, and seek something else, and make yourself get to the point where when you see a person that's bringing chaos to you, you want to get away from them so bad, it hurts. Like, not hurt in a bad way, but it's like immediate. You got to really get this shit done. You have to get to that point. Otherwise, we will never get out of poverty. We will never get out of the boat of not understanding that we got to stick together, fight with each other to win everything that we need for each other. And that's really all it is.
Ever find yourself stuck in a loop of thoughts, feeling like you're trying to solve a problem and getting nowhere? You think you're analyzing the situation to death, but instead it feels like you're just spinning your wheels without any real progress. This kind of mental struggle can feel frustrating and exhausting leaving you mentally drained and no closer to a solution. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Today, I want to talk about something that many of us struggle with, overthinking versus problem solving. Knowing the difference between the two is important, not only for our mental well-being, but also for making effective decisions. When we confuse overthinking with problem solving, we often end up stuck, feeling more anxious or overwhelmed. So let's first look at overthinking. Overthinking is when you find yourself stuck in a loop of excessive thoughts about a problem or a situation without moving toward a solution. You might replay conversations in your head, dissect every detail, or imagine countless what-if scenarios, all in an attempt to avoid making mistakes or to try and control every possible outcome. However, this kind of thinking doesn't lead to clarity or resolution. Instead, it often leads to feeling more anxious, overwhelmed, or paralyzed with indecision. Now let's look at problem solving. Problem solving is a focused and structured approach to addressing a specific issue with the aim of finding a solution. Unlike overthinking, which is often driven by fear and uncertainty, problem solving is about being goal-oriented. It involves clearly identifying the problem, brainstorming potential solutions, and then taking actionable steps toward resolving the issue. Problem solving has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You start by defining what you need to solve, gathering the necessary information, and then you work through a plan. The focus is on moving forward rather than rehashing and revisiting things.
That is the very reason why, right there, Black women, that when I was talking to you in this video and we started out going over that conversation that was useless, and I told you it was useless between that Black woman and that dude, and then I start talking about the home ownership and this, and then going through all of these psychological informational videos, is to get you to understand you guys have been seriously overthinking this whole stupid relationship shit with Black males and their inability to want, love, care, and respect Black women. Let it go. Stop overthinking it. It is something that you are never going to be able to correct or achieve. So instead, turn to problem solving. No longer are you going to give a fuck about, is the gender war ever going to stop? We don't give a fuck. It could go on forever. We're no longer going to care about why these Black dudes don't want to be in marriage and marry Black women and do the right thing. We don't give a fuck. All we want to care about is problem solving and getting to the point where Black women are made whole. Black women are no longer dependent on thoughts of partnerships with Black males because they feel like this is something they're obligated to do or they have a loyalty to do. Let that shit go. You don't have no obligation or loyalty to any male. You have an obligation and loyalty to yourself as an individual and as a mother if you are a mother. And then you want to start working on the problem solving of getting you wherever it is in life you want to go. And you don't let nothing else get in your way. And if you have children, you want to teach your children to be the same way so that they no longer have any dependencies, especially on shit like what could have been. Like if my father would have stayed with my mother, I could have been this. I couldn't. No, none of that shit is guaranteed, nor is it even possible, because you have to start with the fucking character of the person. If the character of the person is not about anything and they're just fucking just making it up as they go along in life, like Black males do, fucking around through their life every day, trying to use people to live off of. They don't go to school. They don't get educated. They don't get gainfully employed jobs. They don't respect themselves and other people the way that they should. They are a waste of time. So by teaching your children problem solving, understanding the feelings they are experiencing, learning to communicate what they want, What is bothering them? What are the issues that need to be resolved between parent and child? You will learn and you will actively practice problem solving so that you are not wasting your time overthinking shit that will never fucking change, which is the bullshit online with the black males trying to overly convince, intimidate, and manipulate black women into changing who they are to become these docile, agreeable servants to individual males who do not want to achieve any fucking thing in life for themselves or their community. Let them go. Let them go, please. Please let them go. All right, before we leave, I wanted to show you guys, this is her official channel, okay? And you can find her here with many videos that speaks to the belongingness, the longingness, the loneliness, the need, the thirstiness, the sadness, the anxiousness, the anger. Did I go over the anger or fear? The rage. Let's do the rage, and I'm gonna end with her.
Depression is often associated with sadness and withdrawal, but sometimes it shows up as irritability and anger. Recent studies show that extreme anger, particularly in adults, can be a telltale sign of unresolved childhood trauma.
Here we go again.
I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Anger is a normal human emotion experienced by everyone at some point.
No, God, please, no, no.
However, extreme anger is different. It's more intense, frequent, and often disproportionate to the situation. For example, a minor inconvenience like a canceled appointment might trigger an explosive outburst in someone struggling with extreme anger. This kind of response can be puzzling and distressing for both you and those around you. It can look like the person blowing up is doing it on purpose, but in most cases, they are not able to control it and may even feel a lot of shame about it afterwards. This is the difference between a person who uses anger to punish and control and the person whose anger stems from trauma and depression. It can be very scary to not have much control over your emotions like that, especially when you explode on people and you see the fear in their eyes. An interesting finding from the research presented at the European Psychiatric Association suggests that childhood neglect may have a greater impact on creating this anger response than the trauma of physical abuse.
Let me stop right there and just say this to y'all. That is the reason why if ever you come across a dude that is always talking shit about their mama or talking shit about other black women, stay the fuck away from him. Because as she just showed and explained to you, childhood trauma is the very reason why these dudes who may have been neglected, and it might not be true, because remember now, when you're a child, you interpret things one way because you're a kid. You're not an adult. You don't really know what you're looking at or what is really going on unless it's something that is actually physically hurting you. You, as a child, you don't understand people doing things for your best interest because you don't have the mental ability to understand it. So that is why you're often told, do as I say when I tell you to do something. I'm telling you for your own good. But when you grow up and you feel like you have been neglected because you weren't allowed to do whatever the fuck it is you just wanted to do, you start to form grudges and you start turning everything that has ever happened to you in your life into childhood neglect, abuse, abandonment issues, and etc. And then you turn into this asshole that plagues our black community as these grown black males who have nothing but hatred, animosity, and who enjoy the fear they put into some, I'm going to emphasize, some black women's eyes when they commit black femicide and domestic violence. And when you try to explain to her and the offender that these things are done because of the lack of self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-understanding you have, both of you, people have a problem with that. Because if the abuser was comfortable and confident in his own skin, he would not be hurting and trying to violate people. And if the victim had a strong sense of self, and knew that there's no way in the fucking world, if you have real dignity and high self-esteem, you would ever allow yourself voluntarily to be a victim to someone who wants to physically hurt you or some other way of destroying who you are daily, bit by bit, from being the person, the whole person you were intended to be in this life when you came into it. This, I can't with this shit. And we as Black women need to understand this and start taking the actual steps. You can do self-help. Everybody don't need to be sitting on no therapist's couch. I personally believe that information is better than someone trying to navigate or lead you to all of these profound epiphany moments, because if you don't have the basis of information behind it, you're going to be lost any fucking way, only to know what that person wants you to know. I don't think that's right. I think everybody should be informed enough to make the best choice based on their own life experience, because all this shit is subjective to who's taking in the information and living these experiences. But let's continue with this.
What is childhood neglect? Childhood neglect refers to a situation where a child's basic needs are not met by their caregivers, and there's several types of neglect. There's physical neglect that happens.
Let me say this too. And childhood neglect is not based off of the child's opinion of being neglected, because this is a fucking child. So what do they know about being neglected truly? They're just going by what they feel. And because somebody is not constantly coddling them every moment of the day does not mean that their ass has been neglected.
Happens when a child's needs for food, shelter, and clothing and hygiene aren't adequately provided for. And this kind of neglect can lead to malnourishment, poor physical health, and developmental issues. Emotional neglect involves a lack of emotional support, love, and attention. And this can happen when parents or caregivers don't engage with the child, don't provide affection, or fail to offer support when the child is distressed. And this can lead to difficulties forming healthy relationships and emotional development problems. Educational neglect occurs when a child's educational needs are ignored. Parents or caregivers may fail to enroll the child in school, allow frequent absences, or not attend to special education needs. And this can result in learning disabilities, poor academic performance, and limited job opportunities in the future.
Don't we know that shit to be true? Don't we know that shit to be true? How many times have you seen these dudes out in these streets pretending like they can't find a job because nobody will hire them?
If you use a chat tool at work, pay attention.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Simply because they are not dealing with the fact that you have to own up to your own emotions, feelings, issues, and everything you have determined in your mind to be against you. You have to wage that against the reality of shit. And people don't have to always be patting you on the head, rubbing your back, hugging you and kissing you for you to be raised properly. I hope y'all understood that through what she was saying. There are real definitions to neglect. She gave them. So when a person is being over coddled, that's not neglect. That is bad parenting. When a person is being made to live a very strict way of understanding that you have to be responsible in this world, I expect a certain level of respect from you, obedience from you, carrying out instructions I gave to you. That is what parenting is all about. It is not about trying to make the child feel gushy and loved and soft inside every moment of their life, because as a parent, there are going to be times when you have to make that child understand this is a moment where you have to learn something. This is not about me trying to make you happy about the situation. I need you to understand what your level of responsibility is here. Now, in saying that, I don't mean demean the kid. I don't mean disrespect, abuse, or hurt. No, but clearly explain. This is something I expected of you that you did not come through with. So even though you didn't do it the first time, I need you to understand this has to get done, and I need you to do it. So you understand that when you come to these points in your life where you are supposed to be responsible, dependable, people know they can rely on you to do what it is you're expected to do. That is called accountability and responsibility. And you must teach that to your children. There's always times for praises, love, hugs, and kisses, but there's also time for not fucking around, not playing, and being serious about, when I say sit down and study, I mean sit down and study. I don't mean playing with computers, watching TV, talking on the phone, daydreaming, getting distracted. I mean pick up the book or pick up the math, practice the steps, read, I want you to apply yourself. Try, push yourself past the comfort zone. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. That builds resilience in people. That builds self-confidence, because you teach yourself that you are able to do something that you kept convincing yourself you were not able to do. And that's what's missing in our society, because everybody's so busy worrying about who they can shift the blame to, instead of realizing, okay, in this situation, this part of the bullshit is on me. This part of the bullshit is on you. And this other part of the bullshit we're going to fix so that you take your half, I take mine, and we're going to work this out where there's no more bullshit. That's what they have to learn. That is what we got to start doing as Black women. We got all of that smoke for telling Black women what they need to do. We got to take that and put that on self-analyzation and put that on Black males, where we know to keep our distance when they are violently showing us red signs and flags that we need to stay very fucking clear from them, because they have all types of wounded inner child issues that they refuse to address, that probably don't got shit to do with their mother or their father. But most importantly, going back to the other video, probably has a lot to do with societal oppression that they seem to always leave out of the equation, as if all of us Black people in this world, in every community in this world, don't have to and are not subject to the same amount of white supremacy, suppression, and oppression. They always want to take it back to a small fraction of the bigger pie, where they can control it, manipulate it, dominate it, or beat it down, which is the Black woman and child. No, you have to consider the whole fucking situation, the whole fraction, not just a portion of it. And this is the thing they have the problem with. Most people refer to it as they don't want to stand toe to toe with the white man, but they got no problem fucking with a woman and a child. That is what I'm saying here in short. That bullshit has to be addressed by Black women, and it also has to be understood by these Black fools, by these Black males who want to be men, but who are never taking the steps to become men. And it's just ridiculous. And I mean, it's to the point where you can't trust any of them as Black males to ever be honest and on a real respect level towards Black women. Like, I have seen this week alone, Umar Johnson talk ridiculously about Black women, and it always be on a sexual tip. I forget that dude's name from the Nation of Islam. I saw him talking ridiculously about Black women and never coming on approaching or talking about Black women on a humane level, a respect level, or even a level of appreciated or reciprocal adulthood. It's always like talking down to us as if they need to be on some type of perch, looking down on us, trying to make themselves feel better. And that's not the reality at all. You're an adult person like everyone else. Because you a male does not make you superior. It makes you inferior in a way, because you cannot do anything in this life to keep Black people or people in general going. You're not women. You don't give birth. You are not responsible for being the first teachers of all children and basically providing the essence of who those people are in this world. We as women are given the biggest, hugest, most responsible job in the world. And then on top of it, we have to constantly battle the whole world and these particular males trying to strip our humanity from us and take away our sense of peace, our sense of dignity, our self of ownership over ourselves, and then go out of their way to blame us for everything in the world when we are not responsible for that. And now we're going to get into the articles that speak to why in patriarchal societies and in America and anywhere people have been colonized, they tend to feel like Black women are up for grabs when it comes to, trying to blame us for everything in this world. And it's not like that, y'all. And you got to stop letting them do that to us. You got to stand your ground and let them know, no, you are going to own your own demons and I'm going to own mine. And as I work on mine to make me better and to make my children better, you need to do what the fuck you need to do to get yourself straight so you could come around me. Until then, you need to stay far the fuck away from me, my children, and all Black women and children, because you are not right for us, period. Black women, I also want to say this in regards to how social media is pushing all of this relationship and marriage ship on Black women. Keep in mind, y'all, don't forget that the majority of these males out here are looking to leech off of Black women's backs. So as you women are falling into these relationships and in this belief of marriage with these dudes, keep in mind that when you're marrying these dudes, you're giving them direct access to your bank accounts and giving them access to the money you worked for and that you earned all on your own. And you're also opening yourself up to credit debt and inheriting, paying for child support and anything else that these Black males bring into your life when you get into relationships with them and you marry them. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind that these dudes never do anything without an ulterior motive. They never do anything like you think based off of love for Black women and children or the desire to be in a committed relationship with them. That's bullshit. They're looking at what you have they could take advantage of. Thus, which is why they always say, what do you bring to the table? Keep that shit in mind. Stay the fuck away from them. Let them fix themselves collectively or die off as you tend to yourself and becoming the best you could be and making your kids better than the batch of Black males we have today. Because these dudes are fucked up. And now they're even tainting the teenage kids to where I saw a video the other day where the Black woman was in the store with her son buying food and she said in the camera, can you believe this dude asked me, why do I have his father on child support when he's doing bad? As if the mother is supposed to give a fuck about this dude doing bad. That's life. You are a grown fucking male who's pretending to be a man. Shit happens in life. And when things don't work out for you, you got to get up off your ass and work twice as hard. If one job is not working out for you as a male, get 2, get 3. Because in this society, patriarchy does not expect Black males or any other male to be the primary care provider for children. They expect people like me to do that. So there's no excuse for a dude not to be busting his ass and working his ass off to make sure he can eat, live well, take care of all the children that he makes in this world irresponsibly. Like, handle your fucking business. And I just want to add that as I looked into that lady more, she did at one point, I believe, have her son stay with the father, and the father could not handle the situation, so he came back, and that young man still had the wrong perception of his mother. I'm gonna tell you black women something, having raised 3 sons that went through that puberty and that young adulthood and teenage shit. If you have a black male son that is challenging you and thinking that you're not doing enough, when they see their father struggling, and of course they're going to deal with that father, and that father is bad talking you behind your back and having this child become more aggressive with you when you're trying to take care of him, listen to me very clearly. Get rid of that fucking kid. Get rid of him. Give him to the state. Give him back to the... I cannot say that. Don't ever give kids to fathers because they don't take care of children. Give him to the state. Put him in a military program. Put him somewhere where he is locked up and a judge has to deal with whatever if you can't handle him, because this is the type of kid, that boy is the type of kid that listens to that father and listens to all this black women hate speech and black women bashing. And he turns into the type of kid that will convince himself into a mental illness to where he takes his mother's life, like that boy shot his mother in the face and a whole bunch of the times and shit in their house. Come to find out that boy and his mother was frequently getting into shit with each other. The father right there egging it on and a part of the bullshit, to the point where that boy got hyped up enough being the criminal that he already was. And the mother being overly doting and thinking that she gonna love him to be right. Stop doing that, black women. When these little motherfuckers show you, and I am a black woman with 3 sons, when these fucking sons show you that they don't give a fuck about you, you taking care of them, you making sure they eat, sleep well at night, go to school, have clothes on their back, and are taken care of well, when they show you they don't give a fuck about you and they show you no level of reciprocity or concern for all your work and caring for them, get the fuck rid of them. Because I'm telling you, I have seen this in my own lifetime. I seen a woman take care of her son so much. This boy was going through in and out of jail, got a PINS warrant, put his ass in a group home. He just wouldn't do right. She asked me, I told her, I said, get rid of that motherfucker. Give him to the state. Let him become a ward of the fucking court. If he doesn't think his life is worth saving, why the fuck should you? He has shown you all those times you've ran to family court, criminal court behind this fool. He doesn't want anything out of life. If he don't want nothing out of life, give him to the state. Let the state deal with him. He will either die in their custody or he will do something, have some type of change. Maybe he may get religion and become better. I don't know. But I'm telling you, black women, I'm telling you, they will fucking sit underneath you and listen to all this black women bashing and black women hate from all these black males. And they will end up killing you, hurting you, or setting you the fuck up to get hurt, because they will develop that much hatred and vitriol towards you that they will plot or take your life. Do not fuck with it. What I suggest, and I told her to do, I said, get a fucking gun, sleep with it. Take a big ass fucking knife, put it under your pillow, put a lock on your bedroom door until you finish your fucking processing of court paperwork to get that motherfucker out your house. And once you get him out, don't let him back in. Stay fucking strapped. So if he ever fucking walk up on you in the street or feel like he gonna do something, you could send that motherfucker where he needs to be. Because once your kid like crosses the line with a parent, there's no coming back. This is why I'm telling you, black women, when you sitting on here listening to these silly ass black women who are trying to fuck your life up for views and a check from YouTube, stop listening to that bullshit about mother and daughter curses. And this is bullshit. A curse is not real. The way you think and the behavior that you display and that you choose to continue in life is causing you your fucking issues, which is why I went through all those Dr. Tracy Marks clips to show you that is how you think. It's the way you perceive things, the way you interpret things, the way you process information is why you move the fucking way you do. So when these little boys are trying to grow up to be menaces to society, you get the fuck out their way and you let the white people deal with them because they have made their choice, their decision not to do right. Every fucking person in this world, no matter how old, not how old, after 10 years old, knows what the fuck they're doing. They make a conscious choice to, if I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. They know what they're doing. So if they choose, like, they're going to start this parent alienation shit where, oh, my father's doing bad, he's playing the victim, and because my mother is being responsible and she's not as bad off as him, because she's not killing herself to give him everything she got, oh, I'm going to hate her because this nigga ain't trying. When you see that developing in your son, get rid of this motherfucker. Get rid of him because he's only going to continue to grow and fester that hate for you as he grows. And when you least expect it, because they love to sneak black women, because even walking down the street, I watch them intensely. I see them how they be watching everywhere black women go, trying to walk up behind them unexpectedly, trying to walk right beside them without the woman even knowing they're there. They're sneaks. They like to sneak attack. Do not let them do that shit to you. Be on your guard. Defend yourself and get the fuck rid of them. I'm telling you, believe me, if my one son didn't straighten up, his ass was going to the state. I had already made up my mind. He was going through this phase as a teenager, and I told him, I do not play that shit. You're going to do what everybody else does. You're going to fall in line or you're going to get the fuck out of here. And I don't mean I'm kicking you to the streets. I'm going to take you to the court, and I am signing over my fucking parental rights to you. To the court. You will no longer be my responsibility. They will not come for me for anything you do because they will already have you. I am not playing. He understood I was not fucking around, and then he started going to school. He started stop being so disrespectful. He started doing the right things. Period. Regardless of the father or not. Because the father was talking to them and it didn't make no fucking difference. It wasn't until I told him, I will take your ass. I'm not playing, boy. And I will turn you over to a ward of the fucking court. I don't give a fuck what they do with you because you are not going to cause me and the rest of these children grief. You are not. And sometimes when those kids get like that, it's like you could see it in them. You can see it cooking. You can see it brewing. You can see it growing. That's your wake-up call to put it right there in front of them. Look, I ain't even fucking with you like that. You either going to straighten up and do right and respect me and respect that I'm caring for you, love you, and want to take care of you, or you getting out of my house and you getting out of my life. It's that simple. We not having no pity parties for you. You're not going to be sitting around here with your head on your hand, feeling sorry for yourself and some false self bag of pity. No. And you're not going to be sitting here thinking that I'm doing something to a grown-ass fucking male who doesn't want to do shit for himself. So if you can't get right, you getting out and you're going to become a ward of the court, period. And then you will live your life based on the decisions you make thereafter. That's it. That's it, because I can guarantee you, if that lady does not do something with that son and he keeps festering that hate for his mother, we're going to read about him killing her. Watch and see. So you don't want to deal with that. But let's get into this. So this is from Medium. This is an article online about Black women. So when all else fails in policing, blame the single Black mother. Apparently, Black single motherhood can be linked to everything wrong with American police brutality, right? And economy, housing, and everything else, right? Politics, the presidential election, everything, abortion bans, everything, child. So according to the recent 2021 U.S. Census Bureau, there are over 4 million single Black mothers in America. We know we got to give it time because it takes like a few years for them to do the year you're currently in. Black women account for 64% of single parents in the U.S. Now, we know since Black males have been out here on their preference kick, that's probably not correct anymore. And we know that white women currently outnumber Black women. But, we continue with the article. While the unique narrative around Black single motherhood has evolved, the betterment of its state is currently a moot point because apparently Black single mothers can now be linked to everything wrong with violent police crime in America. Whew, the delusion. On January 7th, 2023, 29-year-old Tyree Nichols was severely beaten by 5 police officers during a traffic stop in Memphis, Tennessee. Nichols was hospitalized in critical condition but died three days later. Let me give y'all an update on that, right? Because we ain't going to go into his story because we all know it. Just recently, the parents had sued those cops, right? So they went to court, they had the trial, and the cops were found guilty of everything except for the most important crimes, which was the violation of his civil rights. So even though they're going to do time, they're not going to do the hard time they needed to do for violating his rights. I just want to put that out there. I thought that was fucked up. And that contributes to the history of Black people's lives not being held as valuable as whites in this country, and the legacy of overseers to police brutality, which is the continuation of the policing of Black bodies as if we're not human beings. I'm going to stop on this article, go to another one. 1 second, y'all. Sorry, I kicked myself out by accident. But yeah, I had heard that on Roland Martin and I could not believe it. I'm like, this is some bullshit. How can they not be charged with the human rights violation? That's the most important. They would have been doing crazy time in prison, but they didn't. The jury was on some bullshit like they always are. All right, so back to this. So now, okay, here's another article in Essence, right? Talks about how martyr-based motherhood harms Black mamas and our communities. We simply can't be everything to our children. We can, however, invest in ourselves and heal to be the best for them. I have been trying to drive this message forever to Black women. That's the most important part, y'all. I'm going to read that again. We simply can't be everything to our children. So all of you crazy ass kids that get in your young adult stage and start talking about, my mother was the worst. She this, she that. Check yourself with that bullshit. Go back, watch several of that doctor's videos about childhood perception, what actual abuse is, and then reflect again, and then sit your ass down, have a conversation with your parent, get out of the mindset of white women and ridiculous Black women trying to teach you about parent alienation. Cut them off, distance yourself. That's the way you handle people. That's not the way you handle people. That's acting like an adult motherfucking child. Because even as an adult, you still not have learned to resolve your fucking issues with your words and communication. Use your fucking words to resolve problems with other people. Because other people do not think like you. They don't feel like you. They don't understand like you. So you communicate to get the proper fucking understanding. Capiche? We simply can't be everything to our children. We can, however, invest in ourselves and heal to be best for them. Meaning, get out of dysfunctional relationships with Black males that make you your worst person, that got you stressing out, gaining weight, getting sick with fucking diabetes, high blood pressure, whatever the fuck else it is out there, lupus and everything else Black women get from being sick and stressed, and your metabolism breaks down, your immune system goes to shit because you cannot fix your mind enough to understand that you, baby, you, my girl, are all that you need in this life. You were not born with this motherfucker attached to your hip. You do not need him in life to give you anything that God has not already, or the Creator has not already given you that you need to make it through this life. This bullshit about companionship, relationship, and marriage, the patriarchy of hierarchy of women and men is made up bullshit. Gender roles are made up bullshit. Love yourself. Think of self first. Care for self first. Do everything for self first. Fuck everybody else. Self first. So that you can extend courtesy and civility to other people, and know that if they do not give you the basic human respect that you deserve to be given, fuck them and move on. Two paragraphs and we out. 1 minute, let me check the chat. All right. So, no one sat me down and said, this is what a good mother looks like before I had kids. They didn't need to. I watched the way, she said, what? I watched the make a way out of no way example my mother, aunts, and grandmother provided and drew my own conclusions. As a child, I saw women who miss sleep and meals. Do not do that shit, Black women. Take care of self first. As a child, I saw women who miss sleep and meals, working themselves to the bone and giving until nothing was left. Don't do that. I knew Black motherhood was less talk, more action, and often easier to show than tell. But when it was my turn to step up into the role, I felt it. So did I, y'all. So did I. I never was so fucking tired, so mentally exhausted, and so ready to fucking say, fuck this shit, I give up in my life until I was 27, married with 3 fucking children, getting ready to get a divorce and not know that I would get married again and have 4 more fucking children, that I would get to the point where I was like, you know what? Fuck all of y'all, I'm out. That's how I felt, even though I didn't do it. That's exactly how I felt, because it was like, mommy, mommy, mommy. Wife, 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 wife. Fuck all of y'all. Leave me alone and give me time to myself. And yes, Black women, yes, Black mothers, it is okay for you to get away from your kids and have time to yourself where you can regroup and not fucking think about them and think about yourself. That is totally okay. And you need to let your children understand that. Mommy needs time for mommy too, baby. Mommy needs to have sanity and she needs to be sane. I cannot be everybody's fucking butler 24 hours of the day. I can't be on call every moment. I will not physically and mentally fucking make it. Black women, do y'all hear me? All right. Where did I leave off at? I felt it. I loved my children and wanted to raise them to feel a freedom of emotion and expression I rarely saw in Black kids. I believe that meant being their everything, placing their needs before mine. The images I saw affirmed this. I tried gentle parenting, but couldn't connect with the soft-spoken white mothers who dominated the space. Fuck them bitches. Their superhuman patience felt like an impossible standard, asking me to be my children's peace when I had none for myself. Let me just talk about that shit about the white women for a minute. Let me explain something to y'all Black women. Everything with white women is a fucking facade. It's a fucking gaslight to the maximum gaslight. These bitches are not soft-spoken. They're not sweet. They're not nice. They're the most passive-aggressive fucking, what's the word? Passive-aggressive, savage, intentionally sabotaging, and malicious bitches you ever want to meet. The reason that their parenting is effective is because they have all of society supporting, reinforcing their bullshit with their children, with their people, with all the other people. It is the power of white supremacy. Never compare yourself to that bullshit, because you have not been given the privilege or the opportunity, the advantage of having about 600 years head start on everybody else, to indoctrinate them into feeling like you the one, you the special one, you the superior one. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. When they talk to their children with the, okay, Billy, you're going to sit in time out for 5 minutes. The child learns to obey, because not only does the mother and father do it, the grandparents, the community, the teachers do it. Everybody this child comes in contact with does it. They're on code with each other. Black people are not. because they too busy trying to assimilate into whiteness and do what whitey does instead of doing what black people do, which is to acculturate into society. Do what black people do positively. We got mamas, we got big mamas, we got aunts, we got uncles, we got cousins, we got this, we got that. Everybody's supposed to take turns in helping that kid learn. These are the things you do. These are the things you don't do. And this is the things that are expected of you. And when we all get on the same page and get on code like them, the dysfunctions will go away. But until then, all of this individualism and, oh, I hate my mother and she hates me, the daughter, you keep the bullshit alive. And all those people that tell you that, they make money off of your dysfunction. So know you getting played to the ultimate, okay? All right, back to this shit. Where was we at? All right. The superhuman patients felt like an impossible standard, asking me to be my child's peace when I had none for myself. I went through the motions, responding to every concern and going above and beyond to pick the right strategies in media. But the high standards added guilt and left me cycling through frustration, yelling and apologizing, believing a better mother wouldn't struggle as I was. It seemed there was a quiet suggestion I spend. It seemed there was a quiet suggestion I suspend my needs to supply theirs. Why would you don't never suspend your needs, stop what you need to do for yourself to give to others, because if you're not good, you can't do anything right by other people. Last paragraph, because I'm tired of this. So this is Denise Bradley, LMFT, right? So she is a licensed medical family therapist. I believe that stands for a marriage and family therapist in Long Beach, California. Says generational trauma and media that, we need to talk about that. Media perpetuate narrative, perpetuative, how you say the word? Perpetuate narratives, right? Narratives that are pervasive. They also fuck with people, children, everybody. And that is what's going on right now on all social media platforms, where they are women bashing and Black women bashing, tearing down the mentality, psyche, self-esteem, self-confidence, everything about Black women. And they're doing it on purpose because they want Black women to be broken so that they can be used and abused. All right, so let's get into it. Says this doctor says generational trauma and media perpetuate narratives of martyr-based Black motherhood. If we aren't struggling, then we're not worthy of anything more, she says. Noting many of us saw our mothers and grandmothers work themselves to death and therefore continue the pattern. I often see many Black women clients putting their worth into their level of productivity. Productivity becomes how they value themselves. Bullshit, don't do it, Black women. Your value is in your humanity, not in what you do, okay? I have seen this too in my lifetime, and I know it's wrong. And the way I know it's wrong is because I did what I want you guys to do. Read, constantly read. Listen to different lectures that you would never take interest in. Always keep up to date with all of the new psychological or psychologist reports or different videos and different studies they got coming out. I want to show you this study of this Black woman. We in 2024, and do you guys know that there has never been studies done on the psychology of Black women with social media? And this one Black woman has been given the charge to do this report. I don't know when she's going to be finished, but I'm dying to see this shit. And I hope she's not a Black male worshiper. I really hope not. Let's move on. Let me see if I can find her, show you who I'm talking about. Where's that lady at? Here she goes. All right, let's do her. Look at her. When I read this, I was like, oh, that's cool. This is the type of shit that they never make public to where everybody knows about it. It's like you got to always be online reading the online newspapers, the online magazines, the online articles to find out anything that's concerning Black women, because they never promote anything positive about Black women. It's always negative or stereotypical because of implicit bias towards Black women. This country is just so hateful. So Essence did this article on an assistant professor receives grant to study impact of social media on Black women's health. Now, I wonder if the FBI is going to chime in, or if they're still on social media doing their job, which was supposed to be getting all these fucking domestic terrorists off the internet who were on here, Black women bashing and calling for Black femicide and human trafficking of us. And remember all those manosphere, red pill motherfuckers on here? I wonder if the FBI is still on here monitoring these fools, because they need to get them up off of here. They need to get every one of them up off of here and make them a fucking example for the rest of society. So, okay, let's get back to it. How you say her name? Clenida? I don't know. Clinda Smith received over $500,000 to explore the effects of social media on Black women's physical health and development, solutions to address these chronic health conditions. Let me tell y'all Black women something, just so you know. You could do this shit too, and you don't have to be an assistant professor. All you got to do is literally do your study, right? Come up with all your evidence, all your videos, all your quantitative and qualitative research, and then you go look into all of the people that pay for what is this? What is this? What kind of study is this? This is a effects on social media study. Nobody could do this study better than the women who are already the creators on social media. So if you wanted to do this, all you do is do the research, do the study, gather up your information, make the videos online, and then send your information and your requests to have your study accepted by these people who pay for these studies, and you too could make the same money they offered this lady. And you could also do it to push back against the anti-Black woman rhetoric and Black women bashing on the internet, and also to work to do an actual public service for other Black women and girls, so that politicians and all of these think pieces who scour the internet looking to see up and coming trending situations can see, oh shit, look what Black women are doing. Black women are doing their own self-study on how the media is affecting them. You don't always need to have no fancy ass fucking degree behind your name to make an impact on society. And that would be something well done, because nobody gives a fuck about it. But if all of us start talking about it, they will have no choice, Black women. They will have no choice. All right, let me hurry up. What am I up to? I did that one. Oh, I could not leave without Black women joy, okay? We got to put this in here. The persistent joy of Black mothers. We got to give out Black women joy, Black girl joy. We need to shut up. All right, so the persistent joy of Black mothers, characterized throughout American history as symbols of crisis, trauma, and grief. These women consistently reject those narratives. You motherfucking right we do. Through world making, reject those narratives through world making their own. Oh, how nice of you. Most of the American public understands Black motherhood as an idea rooted in crisis, only because of stereotypes created by Black males and white people in general in America, which is why many Black women, you really need to read Sister Citizen, because she talks about this a lot in that book. My first two children entered the world to the sound of my laughter. Peals of uncontrollable laughter. When my third child was born on a cruelly hot night last summer in a sterile delivery room, his experience was no different. My reaction to birthing a child may have seemed bizarre to a besieged and battle-weary hospital staff in the midst of a pandemic. But I believe that my joy was a normal response to my scenario. And that's another thing, Black women, show these motherfuckers Black women joy. Show them how Black women, when we get together, you better not do anything you're not supposed to. We love each other hard, and we care about each other, and we will go through hell for each other. Show them that in your videos. Show them that we're more than these stereotypical Black women who have bad attitudes and who other Black women make haggard videos and images of. You know, like, show them that we are whole people with 360 degrees of humanity, emotions, and everything else people are made out of. Celebratory joy felt particularly appropriate for the occasion given the reality of Black mothers' experiences in America. I would be happy just to survive that fucking birth. I understand what she's talking about when you have so many hateful racists in hospitals killing Black women for amusement. A global health pandemic, a nationwide racial reckoning, and horrifying rates of Black maternal mortality. My choice to laugh in the face of all this was a reflection of what the historian Kelly Carter Jackson calls violent joy. A kind of joy that's rooted in an insistence on Black humanity and an assertion of Black personhood. Black personhood. Joy is a weapon. Joy is a weapon. Joy is a weapon. Jackson told me over Zoom recently, especially against an ethos of white supremacy, an ideology rooted in ideas that Black people are not human, that they're not worthy of anything good in the world. As Imani Perry wrote in this publication last year, joy is the choice for Black people that, while intermittently tethered to pain, simultaneously exists through it. That is so fucking true. It's crazy. 1 minute, relax. For many people, though, a Black mother choosing joy is a stark contrast to the most prominent stories about Black motherhood. Throughout generations, society has rendered Black mothers dangerous. Just think of the American mythology surrounding the so-called menace of the pathological Black matriarch of the 1960s. You people need to read that. That's some sick shit. The treacherous welfare of the 1970s and the drug-addicted crack mother and her babies in the 1980s. In the groundbreaking 1998 book, Killing the Black Body, that one was good too. The legal scholar Dorothy Roberts observes that while white childbearing is generally thought to be a beneficial activity, it brings personal joy and allows the nation to flourish. Black mothers, however, are seen as harmful degenerates with a drain on the nation, a group to be controlled and disciplined. Even within Black community themselves and Black males on YouTube, TikTok, and everywhere else, reiterating the same white stereotypes and slave narratives that we have had to deal with our whole fucking life. And they just don't stop because they're too fucking stupid to understand that they should. Even within Black communities themselves, as Eva C. Helden, a 39-year-old doula from Windsor, Connecticut, relayed to me during a Zoom interview, there are confining boundaries around what constitutes authentic and acceptable motherhood. Black mothers' private lives are consistently subjected to public surveillance, scrutiny, and judgment, as if to suggest that these women cannot be trusted to be responsible for themselves or that they are unfit for motherhood. Ain't that the story they always try to tell? They always try to tell that bullshit story because they don't want people to lift the skirt of the ugliness of America, the ugliness of males and patriarchy, the ugliness of discrimination and racial fucking bigotry. Yeah, you're going to say that because white people make the rules to keep Black women poor. White people make the rules to keep black women living in fucking poverty in the projects. And they make the rules to make it where black males could whoop her ass and kill her by black femicide every day, every 4 hours of the day. And that shit never makes the news. And these dudes are never hunted down and made to pay for what they do. There's no programs to prevent this type of bullshit. And black women and girls go missing every motherfucking day into human trafficking, organ donating, and just disappearing because some sick motherfucker wants to be a serial killer and he feels like, hey, there's a black woman or a girl. Let me get one of those. And nobody gives a fuck because we have no humanity in this country and to anybody that is non-black. And this is why it is imperative, black women, that you see the humanity in yourself and in other black women. Band together, unite, get that solidarity so that we could go out and stomp the fucking yard in America for everything related to black women and girls. It is imperative we do so because we are seriously dying every day as we don't. Come on, black women. We must do better by ourselves. Last year, and I'm going to end this video, we all know that there is a maternity mortality in this country. Here in New York City, not even a week or two ago, there was a black woman that died in Brooklyn Woodhull Hospital trying to give birth. Her family is now suing. And the state is threatening to shut down the maternity ward at that hospital. While the people in the community are calling for all of the laws that have been written into the law to protect doctors and nurses from killing people without having to pay for their lackadaisical killing of people and babies. New York City residents are now trying to call for doctors and nurses to be held responsible for killing people. I don't know how far it's going to go, but I will definitely sign up for that as well because I know for a fact, just reflecting on my own unfortunate encounters with hospitals, with doctors and nurses, they don't give a fuck about what I tell them and they don't care if they heal me, treat me properly, or give a fuck if I actually get better. So I would be definitely for them going to jail like everybody else when they kill people when they didn't have to. And it is easily proven because there are other doctors in this world that will show this could have been done or that could have been done in order for this person not to have died. So that's the things we're going through now, and that we need to start. Those are the things we need to spend our time on, not relationships and worrying about fucking black males. Let's let this 12-minute play and then we'll end out.
We're going to hear the story of a woman who died earlier this year, a few weeks after giving birth. Her name was Shalon Irving. She was in her mid-30s. She was black. NPR's Renee Montagne and ProPublica's Nina Martin learned about her at the beginning of an investigation into the high rate of maternal deaths here in the U.S.
Within that alarming rate is an even more troubling one. Black women are 3 times more likely to die than white women. Sometimes it's an issue of poverty, lack of prenatal care, or not having access to the best hospitals. Racism also plays a role. Experts say prolonged exposure to bias is so stressful, it can make the difference between life and death. Here's Renee.
It is an especially cruel irony that Shalon Irving was focusing on the exact issue of how racism figures into health. Armed with a PhD, she was rising through the ranks of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, where she researched the many ways the body can be negatively impacted by its surroundings. By any measure, Shalon had accomplished a lot. Highly educated and well-paid, she owned her own home and had access to the finest health care. Yet none of that protected her from becoming part of the shockingly high rate of Black maternal mortality.
Soleil, can you say hi? Hi.
On a recent afternoon, we joined Shalon's mother, Wanda Irving, in her home outside of Atlanta. She was surrounded by photos and mementos and caring for the baby Shalon left behind when she died from complications of childbirth.
There's a picture of her and Soleil with the same outfits that was taken the day she collapsed, the morning of the day she collapsed. Soleil is French for sun.
Yep.
She just
So they,
lights up a room when she smiles.
yeah, she looks
And
beautiful.
she's the only reason I have for getting out of bed every morning.
Oh, sorry, lady.
The fact that in 2017 America, a black woman is still 3 to 4 times as likely to die in pregnancy and childbirth, and that there are twice as likely to suffer a life-threatening complication, I think that's a national disgrace.
Dr. Michael Liu spent years as head of the Maternal and Child Health Bureau. That's the main federal funder of programs for mothers and infants. He and others have done studies showing that an important cause of poor outcomes in childbirth for all Black women is prolonged exposure to the indignities and dangers of discrimination.
We're talking about African American doctors and lawyers and business executives, and they still have higher maternal mortality rate than white women who were high school dropouts. It's the experience of having to work harder than anybody else just to get equal pay and equal respect. It's being followed around when you're shopping at a nice store, or being stopped by the police when you're driving in a nice neighborhood. Those types of experiences.
Oh, shit. Sorry, y'all. God damn it. I'm fucking up on this one. I don't think I'm gonna get it back. That's crazy. I did not know I tapped that like that.
Martin learned about her at the beginning of an investigation into the high rate of maternal deaths here in the U.S.
Within that alarming rate is an even more troubling one. Black women are 3 times more likely to die than white women. Sometimes it's an issue of poverty, lack of prenatal care, or not having access to the best hospitals. Racism also plays a role. Experts say prolonged exposure to bias is so stressful, it can make the difference between life and death. Here's Renee.
It is an especially cruel irony that Shalon Irving was focusing on the exact issue of how racism figures into health. Armed with a PhD, she was rising through the ranks of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, where she researched the many ways the body can be negatively impacted by its surroundings. By any measure, Shalon had accomplished a lot. Highly educated and well-paid, she owned her own home and had access to the finest health care. Yet none of that protected her from becoming part of the shockingly high rate of Black maternal mortality.
Soleil, can you say hi? Hi.
On a recent afternoon, we joined Shalon's mother, Wanda Irving, in her home outside of Atlanta. She was surrounded by photos and mementos and caring for the baby Shalon left behind when she died from complications of childbirth.
There's a picture of her and Soleil with the same outfits that was taken the day she collapsed, the morning of the day she collapsed. Soleil is French for sun. She just lights up a room when she smiles. And she's the only reason I have for getting out of bed every morning.
The fact that in 2017 America, a black woman is still 3 to 4 times as likely to die in pregnancy and childbirth, and that there are twice as likely to suffer a life-threatening complication, I think that's a national disgrace.
Dr. Michael Liu spent years as head of the Maternal and Child Health Bureau. That's the main federal funder of programs for mothers and infants. He and others have done studies showing that an important cause of poor outcomes in childbirth for all Black women is prolonged exposure to the indignities and dangers of discrimination.
We're talking about African American doctors and lawyers and business executives, and they still have higher maternal mortality rate than white women who were high school dropouts. It's the experience of having to work harder than anybody else just to get equal pay and equal respect. It's being followed around when you're shopping at a nice store, or being stopped by the police when you're driving in a nice neighborhood. Those types of experiences create a kind of chronic stress that continues to gun the engine, which over time create the wear and tear on your body's systems.
There is a word researchers use for this accelerated deterioration of the body. It's called weathering, and some studies suggest it can be measured at the level of chromosomes. One study looking at the chromosomal markers for aging found that middle-aged African-American women on average appear 7.5 years older than their white counterparts. The lead author was a pioneer in the study of weathering, Arlene Geronimus of the University of Michigan School of Public Health.
Long-term exposure to cascades of stress hormones causes a lot of different health vulnerabilities, and it increases your susceptibility to infection, but also the early onset of chronic diseases, in particular hypertension, diabetes, morbid obesity.
Weathering and chromosomal indications of aging can occur in anyone. One study, for example, showed similar weathering in white mothers caring for autism.
All right, I gotta stop it there because I don't like bullshit, okay? Now, we all know that the genetic weathering is real. Black women, when they're under a lot of stress, the extra cortisol in the body builds like arthritis, lupus, osteoporosis. It builds heart disease, stomach problems, ulcers, etc. It builds gout. It builds all types of things where it tears the body down because of the stress and the fact that the body is basically turning on itself because of all of the different hormones going out of whack within the body. The homeostasis of the body is thrown off, which tears down and breaks down the autoimmune system. But all that shit about weathering in the face, talk about Black women look 7 times older than their white count. That's bullshit. We all know that to be bullshit. You can look at any Black woman today, any Black woman. I don't give a fuck how old she is. You put her side by side with a white woman the same age, and that white woman is gonna look like a fucking dinosaur compared to that Black woman. Stop playing. But you see how they can't never let the implicit bias and the racism never seep into anything they're doing. They couldn't just let it go and just tell the fucking truth. They got to take little digs at Black women because their hatred for us is always just at the fucking surface, always percolating to come through. Come on with that bullshit. We all know that's bullshit. We all know that Black women there's no other woman on the face of this earth that ages as gracefully as Black women, not even Asian women. After a while, they all start with that weird frog-looking body. Their faces all look the same. They start drooping in the same places. Stop it. Stop it. All those women look bad after 35, period. So I don't even know why she had to throw that in there. But that's because that is the psychological hatred that is held deep in the back of their mind that they just can't let go of, where they always got to throw in a dig or a backhanded compliment or some type of insult to fucking get at you, because they can never just say something positive altogether. They never can. Never can. I just want to see if I can find one thing to make y'all laugh before I end this video, because I thought it was funny when I saw it. Let me see if I can find this shit. It was 2 dudes got fucked up at a Trump rally. Let's see if I can see it. This shit is crazy. What? They didn't show it. Oh, here you go. Is it a video? Yes, it is. This is gonna be funny. Hold on, y'all. All right. This is shout out to all the Black male Trump supporters. This shit is crazy. Look at this. They beating up the Black dudes that go to the Trump supporter rallies now. Look at this.
Oh!
Guess shouldn't be at the Trump rallies, right? Shouldn't be. There was another one. Let me see if I can. Where is the other one at? The other one was at the rally today. The fuck? Where was this loser at today? I'm trying to think about where he was. It was on Fox News. Let me see if I can get it. Ah, shit. That's isn't right. I don't give a fuck. It's just like that's what you get. You out here trying to fucking rally and pump for white supremacy, and they show you that you still are a black person they don't like. Fox News, brawl at Trump. Let's see, Trump rally 2024. Oh, here it is. Hold on, y'all. Wait for this stupid video to be over. Now they're trying to football. Nobody cares about that shit. At least I don't. New York City, they always talking about fucking football and baseball, always arguing over shit nobody cares about. All right, here's the one that happened recently. I think he had a rally today, right? So this is what happens to black people when they go to Trump rallies.
The former President Donald Trump's rally in Saginaw. This is video taken outside the venue hours before he got there. The nonprofit Michigan Advance reports that the people involved were vendors selling Trump memorabilia.
That's terrible. What's wrong with them dudes? They like so embarrassing. Like, how do you support your fucking oppressor? How do you do that without ignorant? Just too ignorant. All right, I gotta go, y'all. Good night. I hope you enjoyed the live. I don't remember the lady's name, but I will do the video showing you Millennial in Debt, the website where you can check for money and those stocks. I'm gonna get on that. I'm gonna do that on the other channel for what do you call it? In your best interest. Y'all need to go over there and subscribe as well. So I could do just like every other content creator, unless you feel like, you know, I'm a black content creator who's not light skinned and your type of people you like, I shouldn't get the same kind of fucking respect they get. It's up to y'all, you know, because y'all need to start reciprocating the love that us older dark-skinned black women creators are giving to you. Like, all y'all do is want to big up young people talking about sexy bodies, makeup, hairstyles, and dumb shit. And then when other people are out here trying to tell you about things that's really important and how to get us where we need to be, you throw us to the side like we garbage. We deserve the same amount of energy. So please go to the other channel. In our best interest, I'll put the information up over there. You come to get it or not. And I'm gonna, now that the channel is actually verified, I'm gonna start doing lives over there about the money and stuff like that. So come subscribe and learn. If not, hey, don't. I won't do it. And then y'all will just, do it yourself or be on here with the same old dumb shit that keeps all of us stuck and stagnant. Relationships, worrying about gender wars, worrying about fucking black dudes, worrying about fighting about white guys. Nah. It's getting us nowhere, black women, and it is about time we wake up and stop it. Oh, I forgot. And all that stupid shit with the exoticals, like black women. You run everything on social media. You can stop people in their tracks by just not going on their page, not viewing, not subscribing, not cash apping, and they will go away. Because where you go, everybody follows. You're the head cornerstone. So act that way. Lead the crowd towards positivity. Leave all the stupidity behind. Good night.